Well, good, hot as fish grease afternoon. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my voice or watching me on any social media stream, as I said it, I just want to make sure that I pull this up via YouTube and Facebook. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I am your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. You all are very aware that this is my last week here on WURD Radio until the month of September. I will be back in Crack-a-Lacking September 1st, God willing. But there's something that happened, a couple of things happened today. I mean, you know, I think a lot of folks think that when I am coming on the air that I'm sitting around waiting to get on the air. I literally have a bunch of meetings in between the time that I sit here in front of the chair and then I'm doing my research. So this morning I was tackling a couple of things, and one of them was listening to the select committee hearing on the January 6th attack, right, where they're investigating the insurrection, and we spoke of officers who joined that mob. The police officers themselves calls them terrorists. Now we speak of those who didn't, right? And so Benny Thompson, who was the chair, Democrat, it was chairman of the committee. And I got to tell you, I sat in my chair and I had a meeting at 11 o'clock, and it took everything out of me to get up out of that chair to go to the meeting. I asked my husband to finish taking notes, and I was listening live as I was driving to that meeting. And let me tell you something. Benny Thompson says 200 years ago in 1801 began the first peaceful transfer of power in the United States, and that is one of the main pillars of our democracy. A peaceful transfer of power did not happen on January 20th, 2021. He said the police officers began giving their Benny Thompson says, one rioter says, "We were not there to commit violence, we're just here to overthrow the government." And so began some riveting testimony. Smashed windows, scaled walls, and they invaded the walls of the Capitol. The rioters went hollering, "Where is Mike Pence?" and "Find Nancy." Rioters were close to succeeding until an officer made them turn left instead of right. That officer was one of the ones who spoke today, who testified today. It's interesting. Harry Dunn is a 13-year veteran. He was the first one who spoke. Sergeant Akinyo Gonel was the first one who spoke, and he said he was a 13-year veteran of the Capitol Police Department and was in and served in the armed forces. He said he needed surgery after being beaten and was sprayed by the rioters. He's from the Dominican Republic. He said they had verbal assaults and disrespect from the rioters and told he was choosing his paycheck over democracy, and they called him a traitor and a disgrace and that he should be executed. He's an Army veteran and a police officer. The rioters also said, "We outnumber you, so you might as well join us." He says that it is imperative that as Americans we know the truth. Many of the attackers were veterans of or police officers. But other officers could not help him because they too were being attacked. He said it felt like a medieval battle to protect the Capitol hand to hand. Rioters were shouting, "Trump sent us." Officers were screaming in agony and pain. Shields were stripped from many of them. He was one of the few with a shield left. He gave CPR to a rioter to save her life, and his skin was burning even after a shower, more than 14 hours after the rioting. And he worked for 15 consecutive days until the inauguration. He had to have bone fusion surgery on his right foot and needs surgery on his left shoulder, and he's going to spend the next year in just really he's on disability now. He wanted to know this. Why was there such a different response from the Black Lives Matter movement when they were sent all the officers they needed, all the support they needed, and nothing happened there? And then they spent hours, I mean literally hours, as these officers testified, they talked about the fact that they spent like from 1:30 in the afternoon until 2 o'clock the next morning really trying to keep the Capitol. Even though they were breached, they saved a lot of lives that day. He said then Michael Fanone, who wasn't working but heard what was going on, he showed up. He is from the D.C. department. He said he worked at the park where President Trump was having his rally, and he said there was the indifference shown to police is disgraceful. Officer Daniel Hodges, D.C. Metropolitan Department, worked at the president rally. He said the mob crushed him, beat him with his own baton. And January 6th was just his first visit to the Capitol. Multi-gun arrests were made between January 5th to the 7th. He said there were women in the crowd calling the police officers traitors. He called the crowd terrorists time and again. The rioters shouted, "You will die on your knees." One asked him, "Are you my brother in arms?" He was struck in the head by a rioter. Another man struggled with him, got his baton, and he was helped by his platoon. The thin blue line flag was being carried by terrorists as they ignored the commands of the officers. Many terrorists, he said, were veterans. QAnon hoodie, one who had on a QAnon hoodie told officers they had to choose which side they were on or die. They were unable to hold the line, and one tried to gouge out his right eye. Had his gas mask ripped off and was beat with it. Officer Dunn asked for a moment of silence for his fallen colleagues. That is the black police officer. That was the one that turned everybody when they wanted to go right. He was the one that literally gave the people in the Capitol Hill more time to disappear so that they would be safe. He said Capitol Police didn't first expected a peaceful protest. He said Trump, the protester says, Trump has given us marching orders and to keep weapons hidden. Stop the steal, we want Trump. Demonstrators breached the Capitol. He witnessed Capitol Police and Metro Police in hand-to-hand combat with rioters. He witnessed rioters using flagpoles and bike racks as weapons. He talked about the fact that officers had all kinds of chemical irritants sprayed in their faces, bear spray, mace, etc. Metropolitan Police Department officer was in need of a defibrillator. One of his colleagues died out there that day. Rioters breached the Capitol carrying Trump Confederate and Don't Tread on Us flags. As rioters were moving forward, Officer Dunn led them away from where the officers were receiving treatment, and one rioter said, "Keep moving, patriots." Another rioter showed his police badge and said, "We are doing this for you." Many rioters were had more and better tactical gear than the Capitol Police and the Metropolitan Police Department. It resembled what a group wore. I can't read this. I would wear. They witnessed many wearing MAGA hats. When Officer Dunn asked them to leave, their response was, "No, man, this is our house. President Trump invited us. We are here to stop the steal. Joe Biden is not the president. Nobody voted for Joe Biden." I want to keep going on. Officer Dunn then replied, "I voted for Joe Biden, and I am a nobody." A woman in a pink outfit yelled, "Did you hear that, guys? This nigga voted for Joe Biden." He was called the N-word. After she said that, about 20 people shouted, "Boo effing nigga," to him. Dunn, "No one has ever called me a nigger while wearing a police uniform." Black officers shared their stories. Other black officers shared their stories of racial abuse with Dunn. Another black officer was confronted by the rioters and said to him, "Put your gun down and we'll show you what kind of an N-word you really are." Interesting. Saddest day for all Capitol Police. Dunn has had to avail himself of multiple counseling sessions since January 6th through Police Assistance Program, that's EAP. He is now receiving personal counseling sessions. He's aware that so many of his colleagues are still suffering physically and emotionally. He is encouraging his colleagues to seek help if they need it. He asked committee to review services available to Capitol Police and to determine if they're sufficient enough to meet their needs. Dunn asked his fellow officers and the American people for their support. for the rioters, your attempt at overthrowing democracy failed. Democracy is bigger than any man, group, or party. And then he said, Officer Fanone said he wasn't scheduled to be on duty, but when he heard the distress calls on his radio, he felt compelled to go down and help. So while, when all of this was going on January 6th, we knew that 6 D.C. officers were suspended for being a part of the riots, and 35 were under investigation after those riots. But there were more, lots more, that were harmed, beaten unconscious. Officer Fanone said that one of the terrorists, because that's what they called them, he said, these aren't rioters, they're terrorists, stuck his finger in his right eye and tried to gouge it out. Right? And so he said what has been most painful for them is watching how these people have always said, we're following the thin blue line. We're all here for police officers. And the moment they realized that those police officers were going to protect democracy, they turned against them like rabid dogs. These police officers are not feeling loved. They're not feeling like, you know, they've done what they needed to do. And they said even more disappointing for them is seeing that people in Congress, the very people whose lives they saved, have turned against them and called them all sorts of things. And so I wanted to give you a brief description and rundown of what's been happening so far. I spent my morning taking notes and really paying attention to what was being said, because you see, there's something going on around this country. There were so many police officers who have felt, and I know this from personal accounts and conversations with them, who felt that they were stepping and standing up on behalf of what Trump was standing for, and those very same people who they were standing up for turned against them and beat them. One officer said hours after he got home and took his shower, his skin was still burning. They sprayed him with so much stuff. They were crying. You know, they were so upset about the fact that what they witnessed, it was just, they came this close to losing the democracy on January 6th. And so I want us to pay attention to what's really happening around this country now and stop pretending as if we've gone back to life as normal and everything is copacetic, because it is anything but. And those folks who were in the crowd kept saying to them, next time we're coming back. We have way more guns, we have way more armor than you do. Lots and lots and lots of these people are veterans, and lots of them were police officers who crossed that line and tried to breach the Capitol because, according to them, Trump sent them. Mike Pence was a traitor, and they really wanted Nancy, right? And so had they been able to get a hold of Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi, only God knows what would have happened to our democracy that day. Had not a staffer at the Capitol Hill taken up the votes that were the ballots that they had to create a peaceful democracy, a peaceful transfer of power, they could have burned that, and that I don't know what would have happened there. And so I'm telling you all this. Pay attention. Pay attention. You're surrounded by people, you know, because these police officers are beyond hurt. They have lost, and I'm not just talking now about the police officers who were there on the day of the riots. I'm talking about police officers who have lost friends, lifelong friends, police officers who have lost family members because they were a member of the police department. We have got to, the same way, and I say this all the time, the same way I talk to you all about, Mike, can you see what's happening? Okay, the same way we say that all black people aren't bad folks, that all Native Americans aren't this, that all Asian people aren't this. We have to be very mindful to put every police officer in a basket and throw away the whole basket down the river. I have mentees who are police officers who are struggling like hell right now, right? The pendulum is swung, and it's swung into the opposite direction. Like one police officer said, when COVID first became a thing and everybody had to be locked down, they were considered first responders, and people were bringing things to them and treating them well. And then when all of this other stuff started happening, and George Floyd was killed, then it got out of control, and now police officers are vilified and not liked anymore. And so let me tell you, if you have not watched that riveting testimony, if you have an app, a CNN app, or wherever it's being broadcast live, CNN was where I happened to catch it, I am telling you, you must watch this. You cannot continue to sit and behave as if this is the thing to do. I had a police officer say to me recently, he said, let me share this with you. when someone walks up to me as a white police officer and says, I am with you no matter what those people say, he said, I would really prefer for them to say to me, I am with you. I did not agree with what that idiot did in Minneapolis. There are plenty of police officers who are vehemently against what Derek Chauvin did, and they're very upset that they've all been lumped into, because they're saying he should have never died, that George Floyd should have never died. And so there's you see the vitriol, you see the exposure, you see what is happening right now in this country, and we are ill afford to sit around and act as if everything is back to normal. Right? And these same police officers that they spat on, these same police officers who thought they had their undying support, were the ones that they almost killed. And some of them lost their lives. One or two, I believe, committed suicide. 6 of them were suspended, and 35 of them were under investigation. And I suspect there's more, because every one of those 4 officers who testified today said, in the line, in that whole group of insurrectionists, of the terrorists that came after them, many of them were officers and many of them were veterans, and they had all kinds of weapons and stuff, and they were telling them, we have more than you do, and there's nothing you can do about it, right? So do with this as you may. I just want you to, for me, it's giving you the hard facts and the details of that day. They showed video of that day that we had never seen before on the news or and it is riveting, and it makes you cry, literally. One Republican part of the committee, and I can't remember his name, Adam something, I can't remember that, because I had to literally start doing my research for the work today. He was crying. He said, I had never seen anything like this, and you know, we really have to make sure that we never get to this place again. Unfortunately, we've been getting updates from it just went right out of my head because I just got a notice about a wall collapsing at Amazon. Homeland Security that says we are still not safe, and that we really must pay attention to everything that's going on around us. Watch your neighbors, y'all, because they're the same ones that try to get back on planes and to come back home to their nice CEO jobs, to their restaurants, to whatever they owned, that literally went into the Capitol and tried to upset the democracy of this country. 1801 was the first transference of peaceful power in these United States of America. And in 2021, 200 years later, we almost lost that peaceful democracy. And if you think for a minute that this is not going to continue, yeah. I don't know. And I don't know what the people at the Capitol Hill are going to do about it, but we'll see. Let me quickly go over here. Thank you for being patient with me. Let me just see. This just in from NBC 10. Workers freed after a wall collapsed at Amazon warehouse site in Philadelphia. A worker was trapped for a short time when a wall collapsed in the Feltonville section of the city before he was freed from the construction accident. So if you have family members working over there, check on them, please. So let me see. I don't have enough time right now. Let me take a quick break. Because we took pages, between my husband and I, we took pages and pages of notes from that riveting testimony. And I hope that this is just not much ado about nothing, and that something actually comes out of this. Because if America doesn't learn the lesson from what happened on January 6th, we're doomed to have something even worse happen down the line. Remember, I told you that. This summer is the perfect time to come out and come up. If you're looking for a new job, you've got to check out our new livelihood portal. Some of Philadelphia's top companies want you, our WURD listeners, to apply. We've got jobs in marketing, customer service, tech, and more. Go to the livelihood job portal right now to check out jobs and apply at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back with the Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller after these messages.
AARP is working to protect Americans 50 plus by making sure you have the latest information about the COVID-19 vaccines and the distribution plans in Pennsylvania. Just visit aarp.org/PA vaccine to learn who's eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine, when, where, and how to get it in Philadelphia and the rest of the Commonwealth, and what you might want to discuss with your doctor. That's aarp.org/PA vaccine.
Want the latest in Word swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media. Save the date. Thursday, August 26th for WURD Radio's annual Founders Day celebration, honoring the life of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. This year will be both in person and virtual. Stay tuned to WURD Radio and WURDradio.com for more information. That's Thursday, August 26th for our annual Founders Day celebration. Exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I know I have a couple of callers. I'm going to ask that you hold on for me, please. Do not hang up. Let me have this conversation with Reverend Dr. Alan E. Waller, who is a senior pastor of the Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Listen. So there is so much going on right now. Let me first say this. I heard that you were guest hosting yesterday for Solomon Jones.
Yeah,
what was that? What was that like?
I had a great time. I had the opportunity to sit in for Solomon Jones. And so I was on from 7 to 10. And I want to thank everybody in the WURD family for calling in and being supportive and being gentle with me. And it was a wonderful time. I mean, I love the community that surrounds WURD, and so it was fun.
Yeah, so do I. And, you know, sometimes they wear me out, Dr. Waller. Sometimes I get off the phone. Sometimes I get off the air and I say, Father, and see, I don't drink, right? So for me, it was a big old bottle of water, and I just lay down and go, don't, no one speaks to me for the next hour, please.
I got you.
They will wear me out. So listen, we have a lot to talk about. This morning began the conversations, the testimony of the police officers from January 6th. And those police officers' testimony was incredibly riveting. I gave the WURD listening audience a whole rundown. I took pages and pages of notes and discussed with them what those officers said. And so the conversation I want to have with you here starts with them, but really comes down locally, because what I'm hearing from police officers is that they're not feeling supported in their communities as a direct result of, one, the insurrection, two, the George Floyd killing, which many of them say they did not agree with, but they all got lumped into the same bucket, right? And four, you know, because of some in their ranks who were just abusing their power. I don't know. There is so much violence in the city right now, Dr. Waller, and these police officers are, you know, they're just looking like, well, what do y'all want us to do? We're trying everything we can. How can we be supportive of them while at the same time holding the rogue within their ranks accountable?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Number one, I think we have to recognize that there's a false narrative that there's the black community versus the police. That's just not real. If you talk to the average person in our community, what they're saying is we want the bad ones gone. And what we are saying specifically, you know, in conversations is we want the process of discovering the bad ones to hold. So if a bad one gets caught and fired, we don't want them to be able to get their job back in arbitration.
Right.
We want to celebrate the ones that are doing a good job, which are the majority, and it's a difficult job. You know, at Enon, we would have an annual banquet to celebrate them. I will not use the word blue, and so I won't do things like faith in blue or celebrate the blue, because that whole color thing has become politicized. And
Yes.
in the context of that conversation, the only color that should be called is black. Because anytime you posit anything over against Black Lives Matter, you're missing the point.
Yes.
You know, so when someone says Black Lives Matter, and then somebody comes along and says all lives matter, or white lives matter, or blue lives matter, you in the statement are missing that Black Lives Matter never meant only Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter, too, is what you should understand that to mean. Because there's no question that white lives matter. There's no question that all lives matter. There's no question that blue lives matter. The question is, do Black lives matter? So as a philosophical, fundamental position, I will not use Celebrate the Blue or anything other than Black lives matter.
Right.
However, we do need to celebrate those that are doing that hard job and make room for them. And also, I think we're going to have to understand that in the grand scheme of solving violence, along with good schools, proper jobs, everything else, there's going to need to be the room for the police to come in and get some people out of the equation. I call to your attention Morgan Freeman in the movie Lean on Me. When he went into that high school, he did a whole lot of reform, but one of those included getting the kids out that didn't want to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Are you aware of the police misconduct database that is now active in Pennsylvania?
What specifically is that?
So, let me tell you. It is, let me just tell you, there's a state law. Every police department in Pennsylvania must now refer to a newly created police misconduct database prior to hiring any police officer, which alerts the department of that officer's prior incidents deemed questionable or controversial. Examples include excessive force, sexual abuse and misconduct, theft, discrimination, and dishonest actions. The legislation was signed by Governor Tom Wolf last year, and on July 14th, a couple of days ago, the database is officially up and running. Police and community agree that officers with a pattern of misconduct do not make our community safer, said State Attorney General Josh Shapiro, who fought for the database. They should not be allowed to go from department to department. Misconduct records need to follow those officers. So that is now law in Pennsylvania. That is now law. So, you know, they have to upload when they have, if they fire a police officer for whatever the reason, they need to put it up into this database. It is not public for us, for those in the general public to see, but what the Attorney General's office is going to do now is hold police departments accountable for hiring rogue officers that they know, right? If they didn't check the database, or if they check the database and still hire them, that police department is going to catch hell. So,
that's right.
You know, that's one step in the right direction, and it protects the officers too that are actually doing their jobs.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah. So we're dancing in an interesting time. So then we have a couple of callers that say the reason why we have so much crime is because the police officers are just, they're hands off. Do you believe that, Pastor
Well,
Waller?
I think their hands, in some cases, their hands are tied. Because of some of the laws, and that is a shame. I mean, there's a narrative out in the street that you just don't get in trouble anymore. There are stories that have been proven of persons who have gotten caught who actually have bodies who then are let go. You know, and that's a concern.
Wait a minute, Pastor Waller. Are you saying, I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly, are you saying there are people who are caught that have been known to have committed murder and they were let go?
There are stories out there.
Okay.
And,
wow.
And so, you know, when police officers are doing their job, and we're not talking about the bullies, we're not talking about the bad racists of which they exist.
Right.
And they're not just a few of them, but they're not the majority of them. And I want to be very clear. And so this is a multifaceted problem that we are facing, and there are going to have to be some people who rise up in the middle and recognize that in order to fix this, every institution is going to have to, number one, clean its own ranks. and get back to its original purpose. And this is all of us. This is those of us who handle the news, those of us who represent religion, those of us who teach children, those of us who represent the political realm. We all have gotten a wake-up call that we cannot abuse our authority. We cannot take for granted the gift of that we've been given to represent the people and serve the people. Everybody has got to change.
Yes. I could not agree with you more. I'm giving you a virtual high five. And that's a conversation that I consistently have here on The Source about folks needing to step up and become responsible or step out of the way. Based on what we're seeing going on in this country, we're in a pivotal time right now. And the winds of change are shifting. So those who are stubborn and sitting around thinking that it's going to continue to be that way, they're going to wake up one morning and either have the federal government knocking on their door for doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, or the people are going to rise up and vote them out. One or two ways. They can go nicely, or they can figure out and start to become the leaders that they're supposed to be. As it applies to those of us that are living in the community, sir, we have to step up and become more responsible. A friend of mine, Mr. Man Frisbee, said this on his social media page the other day. Well-known writer, everybody knows him in the city. He said, until we start to turn in our sons and brothers and cousins that we know have a bunch of bodies on them that have committed these murders and are continuing to hide them, we're going to continue to have the kinds of gun violence that we have in this city. And so we have to also discuss the personal responsibility of those who are in the community who know that our children and cousins and uncles and aunts, because not just men are committing murder now, are responsible for these crimes. And this then lies into what you were talking about, that we have to clean house. We have to pull some of these people off the streets, or nothing is ever going to change. So I'm going to leave that alone for right now. Let's talk about the Delta variant and how the spike now is becoming worrisome. And what pricked my interest, Pastor Waller, was when the CDC said, even if you're vaccinated, put your masks back on.
Period. And that's the bottom line.
Yep.
So whatever you think about the vaccination, at this point, the responsible thing to do as a human being in this season in America, unless you are in your house with people that you know, when you step outside, you want, let me say, if you're outside and not in a crowd, you're probably okay without your mask if you're vaccinated. If you're going to be inside around any other human beings, you need to have on your mask. And if you're going to be outside, we had service outside on Sunday, and we wore our masks except when it was time to go to the microphone and dispatch our duties. That's just kind of where we are. They're still discovering things. We're going to get through this, but because our response was messed up from the beginning, we've got a mess on our hands. And the responsible thing to do is wear your mask, because it's easy to do. It's
so easy to do.
And, you know, the other side of that is we have to have a real conversation in this country about what freedom means, because people are beginning to define it as freedom from responsibility. You know, and this and white folk are really big on this. They're the main culprit. The assumption that freedom means I can do whatever I want to do without thinking about my neighbor or my responsibility is just not real. You know, so you are free to live here. You are, but your freedom includes your responsibility. So if you're going to come inside, you're allowed to be in here, but since you're in here with people, you have a responsibility to protect your neighbor with a mask. So I just think that's where we are.
You know what's so interesting, Pastor Waller? These same people who are screaming their freedoms are going to other places and trying to exert that freedom, quote unquote. And I have to remind people that when you leave the United States of America, be very, very careful. So a man went to Jamaica to a wedding, and Jamaica still has a lot of restrictions. They tell him to put his mask on. He refused to because he's free and he was vaccinated and he's an American citizen. He doesn't have to. So they put him out the resort. Put him out. Like, you're not getting any money back. Go back home where you came from. He then goes to a local police station in Jamaica. This is where I got the chuckle of life, because the way the police stations are run in other countries are not the same as in America. They don't have the same, restrictions that we have here in these United States. So he walks into the police station. Policeman says to him, "Sir, before I talk to you, you have to put your mask on." And he went off about being American, da-da-da-da. The police officer picked him up, put him right outside the door, and locked it. That was the end of that. So,
it was like the white boy Michael Fay who got caned in Singapore. And he tried to die over here, but he had no business doing what he was doing.
Unbelievable. And then their families fuss and complain that they're American citizens and we're supposed to take care of them. But the fact of the matter is, if you're not following the laws in your own land, it only stands to reason that you're going to go into another person's land and try to do the same thing, except you just you will not be able to get away with it, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. How are things going at your church? What's happening? Any updates for us there?
Well, going well. We all are going to have to learn to live in this context. As of next week, we are going to resume funerals inside. We're not back inside worshiping yet. It won't be until after the final holiday. And we're just trying to be responsible around that. We are going to have seating restrictions. But my sense is that most responsible people are not rushing. I celebrate the fact that most people that I'm experiencing are handling this well and are being cautious. We may have had a total of 400 or 500 people out on Sunday, and there were 300 chairs socially distanced, and everybody else was in cars. And it's not ideal, but it was an opportunity to see each other. And we will try something else in August before we get back in September. And I celebrate. It's the poor frog that won't praise his own pond. But I think Enon they're amazing, and they have been wonderfully both supportive and invested in ministry. And we've tried to hold it down in the Northwest. And except for, some people have not necessarily appreciated our approach to funerals. And I actually get it. All our funerals right now are outside at the graveside.
Right.
And, some people, not some people, when you experience death, you want a funeral inside. And so, we took a little criticism around that. And I don't get mad at that because, when it's your loved one, it's your loved one. You want a real funeral. You want to feel like your church has responded. And there may be people who feel like I did not handle that correctly. But that comes with territory.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I've learned a lot from you in terms of dealing with criticism, right? We don't respond fire with fire. We take it in, mull it around, spit the meat from the bones and figure out how we can be better at certain things, and then not to take it personally when it's not anything that we can do about it. So I've learned that from watching you. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate that. Yeah. And I think, when anybody gets mad at you, it's because of what implicit in their anger is their assumption of what you're supposed to be and what they want you to mean to them. And I try to pick the good out of that. When they get mad at the church, it's because they expect the church to be something. And the church has been something. And so I get it. I get it. And we don't take it personally. We just keep on moving.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I'm going to be out for the entire month of August, so you get a whole break from me.
Yeah. All right. Well, you enjoy yourself. I'll see you in September.
Yes, sir. And you take a break, too, please, because it's only going to ramp up after September. All right?
Absolutely.
God bless. Take it easy, sir. God bless to you. Bye-bye. Right. So I know I have a couple of guests, callers on the line, so I'm going to take you when I come back. But Lori Barrett says, hello, sister, blessings. Do you know of any place where I can get the Moderna vaccine? I would prefer a medical setting due to many medical conditions. So let's reach out and see if we can get Dr. Ayla Stanford. Go on the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium.com. Michael, can you type that in for me, this person for me, please, and see if they're still doing vaccines. I believe they are. And then also all around the city, madam, are places where you can just walk in and get a vaccine. So when I take a break, I'm going to do a little bit of research for you and as much as I can for the time that we're on break. And if I can find something, I'll let you know. But in the meantime, we'll do this, okay? Michael will put it in for you. Yeah, I have to read this quickly. Anita Coleman says, it is one of my favorite quotes. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the other of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs but comes short, who comes up short again and again, but there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither knew victory or defeat. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. If you are hearing the sound of my happy little voice, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, and I'm going to be back to talk to you about the twins I saw today from Food Chasers after these messages.
Word Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
Using food or grocery delivery services like DoorDash, Grubhub, or Instacart proved to be a valuable lifeline for some during the pandemic. And even as the country opens up, food delivery is still very popular and shows no sign of slowing down. Here are some tips to make sure your next food or grocery delivery goes smoothly. Typically, the best time of the day to order groceries is first thing in the morning, but on most apps, you can schedule your delivery in advance, so take advantage of that feature to help avoid long wait times. Make sure you leave clear delivery instructions for your driver. Provide cross streets, landmarks, or a description of your home if necessary. And leave detailed instructions for your grocery shopper by specifying preferences in the comments in the app. If you're concerned about security within the app, use Apple Pay or PayPal as your payment method instead of storing your credit card information. And of course, make sure you tip your shopper or driver for their hard work. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at WURDradio.com.
Join WURD for the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. This year, we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, Northwest, and South Philly. I'm Tiffany Bacon, and I'm broadcasting live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. Our next stop is the J.L. Wright Recreation Center on July 30th. Enjoy live performances, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support and join or renew your 4WURD membership on site. That's the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour at the J.L. Wright Recreation Center from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. WURD. Showing love this summer.
Catch Tiffany Bacon this Friday at the J.L. Wright Recreation Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue. The Word Radio Neighborhood Love Tour is sponsored by Comcast and supported by Pico, Keystone First, and Ready Set Philly. This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. And so, Miss Laurie Barrett, I went on the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium website, and you are in luck, madam. They are at Deliverance Church off Lehigh Avenue from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. today. They're doing vaccines and testing. They're again at Deliverance on Thursday for yeah. Oh God, they're there all day, all week. So they're there today, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. They're doing vaccines and testing from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So that's Deliverance on Lehigh Avenue. They also have here on their website that they have COVID-19 vaccines for anyone 12 years or older, and you can get a free Uber ride. Just put the Uber code instruction in the thing, and you'll get up to a $25 per trip ride. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that, about getting over there. So they're at Deliverance Tabernacle Baptist Church on Lehigh Avenue from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day this week doing vaccines and testing. I hope that helped you. It was the quickest thing that I could do while I was on break, okay? All right, so let me start taking some of these calls. Joseph from Massachusetts, how are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. How you doing, Andrea?
I'm good. What's going on?
Yeah, you know, the Capitol, the January 6th thing right on the Capitol Hill. America got to get back to the separation of the church and state. You have to, because what religion do it cause tribalism. More people die in the name of God in the world than anybody else, than anything else put together. Now, I'm not religious. I'm atheist. I don't believe in God, but I went to Catholic school. I went to the Church of Christ University. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with people having their religion. But what they do is cause tribalism. And when the government is involved in religion, it puts a problem with the society. That's why you have police killing and everything that's going wrong with America. America is founded on the idea Congress should not establish no religion. But what you got is a bunch of religious kooks hijack the American government. These people make Jim Jones look like Mother Teresa. They make David Koresh and Waco Texas look like Mahatma Gandhi. They make Charles Manson look like he was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. They can't see right from wrong because they're blinded by their faith. Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, the most segregated time in America is 11 o'clock on Sunday. I had a friend, we used to go to the library together in Atlanta, and he showed me the Life magazine from the 1920s and 30s of lynching, front cover page. Lynching after church. These same white people that talk about God and God is about righteousness on earth. After church, they go look for a black man to lynch. And that ties into my other point. A lot of these black men who probably were lynched in the South probably had some kind of form of mental illness. You can't mix religion and mental illness. You got a lot of these black leaders always talking about mental illness, taking care. And they don't know nothing about mental illness, but what they do, they shut down voices. That's how they get rid of the opposition. They label them mentally ill, then the police step in. And now we live in a capitalist system. A lot of people will play the mental ill game so they get disability. But it's between a rock and a hard place. And the people want you to get disability so they can abuse you and accuse you. It's another form of racism, but they don't want to talk about that because everybody seems to be in charge from a religious point of view. And that's not solving the problem. That's creating the problem. But thanks for taking my call. Have a nice day.
You're quite welcome, sir. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All right, Ron, how are you from North Philly? How are you?
Yes, I'm doing fine. I would like to talk about health care in the United States of America.
Okay.
And what I have seen through the years, it has been, even with all the things that y'all talk about, we all talk about, but it's still good for health care with our seniors. I look at the various programs, the one that you just mentioned that is available to help people. I look at Oak Street Health. I look at so many things that I've seen improvement in spite of what's going on. And I certainly hope that people will listen and take care of their health. Seniors in particular, two things real quick. On the 14th, I had a chance to go over there to Oak Street Health and to speak with the seniors that was there. And I noticed once we got in there, and they had greeted me, once we got in there, we just start talking before they visit, I noticed how their spirit was just uplifted. And they was talking, we just did a reflection back on some of the history in reference to their traveling with the Uptown. The ones that could walk and they start moving and start talking. I'm saying, look at the inspiration. So after that, they took a lot of them out of the building and they went on a walk. Then what WRD did over, maybe about 6 years ago at the Crop Center, Sir, Mr. Lomax Reese and them had the event up there where the people, of course, they invited us up there, all the people and all the members of WRD. And they had the Zoomer, they had the sir was doing the physical with the balls and all these things. And I noticed the uplifting, creating an environment, a healing environment, a peaceful environment. And I really enjoyed it. And I'm saying with all the things that's going on, I certainly hope that WRD begin to visit something like that, because a lot of our seniors like myself, way over 75, have the inspiration when you have problems going on in your life with physical, ma'am. I certainly hope that Mr. Lomax Reese and them could revisit something like that. And before they do the therapy, ma'am, I certainly hope they would let the seniors talk. Let the seniors talk. That will create energy instead of having a spokesperson. Begin with that. And I do believe, because it all begins with healing. So,
Mr. Ron, I don't mean to cut you off, because I got to go to break, and I've got one more caller there, and I got a guest on. But here's what I'm going to say to you. I am going to personally ask Sarah Lomax Reese if I can host a show where we invite the seniors. I love the seniors.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's see if we can make it happen, okay? All right, sir. All right, take it easy. All right, bye-bye. Gary from Southwest, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm well, Andrea. How are you?
I'm good. We have 4 minutes before I got to get off and go. Okay. All right.
I just wanted to make a comment when we're talking about the police, the things that are going on in the attack on the Capitol. You know, if we look at the origination of police and what they were created for, I mean, when it relates to black people, you know, we're still going through those same situations. And, yes, we have a lot of great police officers, but they're going to have to stand up and speak up against their colleagues who are being abusive to our community. And I think that's what the public sees. Like, even now I'm out, I don't really see a lot of police officers out, you know, really patrolling the area, and it's got a lot of lawlessness going on. But we got to be real about this. You know, officers got to have the courage. They have to have the courage to step up and speak up.
So let me ask you this: so because I've worked with police officers for a long time, quietly, let me just tell you, quite a few of them have had the courage. It's not just so they pull.
I'm not saying they haven't.
Right.
But we need more. That's what I'm saying, because I know some that are really stand-up guys and women. No, seriously.
Yes.
But I'm just saying.
So
I'm just saying, as a collective, I'm not putting them all in the same basket.
Right. Okay.
I'm saying, but as a collective, because when they stand up, they got to deal with their colleagues then.
Yes.
Because they stand up, and then their lives may be in jeopardy. I'm gonna get end on this note.
Yeah.
I saw a movie a long time ago, years ago, Serpico, and I read the book, and this is a white officer, but he had integrity and everything, and he was standing up, and they set him up.
Serpico, yes.
They set him up.
And you know that was based on a true story. And you know that was based on a true story.
Yeah,
right?
I know that's a true story. Yes, because as a young man, all he wanted to do was be a police officer. When he got of age, he wanted to serve the community. And see, now you have a lot of officers now where they actually have to put, like those officers at the Capitol. I mean, they put their lives in jeopardy, and and their colleagues are standing back, just watching, waiting for their demise. And that's we I don't know how you get around that, but they're going to have all those officers need to unite and come together, and we as a public, we got to support them. And then we go back to our elected officials. They have to do their job also.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea.
Oh, you're welcome, my brother. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, and Andrea, enjoy your vacation. You deserve it.
It's not a vacation, y'all. It's not a vacation, Gary. I'm going to work. I'm working. I said to my husband.
Andrea, that's your nature, but, enjoy anyway, okay?
I'm going to try. I said to my husband this morning.
Okay, you know what it is? You're just that person, Andrea. Even when you're on vacation, so-called vacation, you're not on vacation. But we love you.
Love you too, my brother. Keep following me on Facebook. You'll see all the shenanigans in a day or two.
Definitely.
See you later. All right, bye-bye. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back with Joanne Grassi, who is a Philadelphia resident, appointed as the AARP Pennsylvania State President. Go on, Ms. Grassi, after these messages.
So, what's the asking price on this house?
You'd probably be more comfortable living somewhere else.
How long a lease is the landlord looking for?
Well, I'm sure you can afford to live here, but...
What are the schools like in this district?
Yeah, we have twins in the 5th grade.
This neighborhood isn't really for your kids. You know what I mean?
If you're Black, Latino, Asian American, or Middle Eastern, and a real estate agent or rental agent says anything like this, you know what it means. You're being discriminated against. Housing discrimination because of race, color, or national origin is against the law. If you believe you've experienced housing discrimination, contact HUD. Go to HUD.gov/fair housing. That's HUD.gov/fair housing. Fair housing. The law is on your side. A message from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Be there this Friday at the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour as Tiffany Bacon broadcasts live from the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And stand with WURD Radio to amplify voices of the Black community as a digital 4WURD member for as low as $5 per month and receive a free gift for signing up. That's this Friday at the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, or visit WURDradio.com. Start or renew your 4WURD membership today. This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM. And 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. You know, interestingly, Joanne Kemp over on YouTube, because again, Mova has her 4 screens in front of her, said this: I have worked for 42 years. I have always had health care. You have to be responsible for managing your own health care and medicine. It is not always the white man who dictates your health care. So it's so interesting that I now have Philadelphia resident Joanne Grassi, who was appointed as AARP Pennsylvania State President. Good afternoon, madam. How are you?
Hi, Andrea. How are you?
So can I just tell you, when I turned 50, I got my AARP, and I was like, I'm not old enough. Can I just tell you how I pull out that AARP card now? Do you have any discounts?
Isn't it great? There are upsides to getting older.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I want you to tell us a little bit now about what is the health insurance marketplace. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
As the Pennsylvania State President of the AARP, the Association for the Advancement of Retired Persons?
Yes, but you're right. We call it AARP now.
Okay.
Because you're a living example. You don't have to be retired to be a member.
You are absolutely right. And I'm so cute. I was like, I cannot be an AARP member, but now I'm embracing it. So what is the health insurance marketplace, and who is it designed to help? And is this through the AARP?
No, this is the, Obamacare, what people call Obamacare.
Okay.
So it's really called the Affordable Care Act, the legislation that passed in 2010 under President Obama. But the actual marketplace became in effect in the year 2013. But what happened this year that's really important for your listeners to know about is thanks to President Biden, the American Rescue Plan got signed in March of this year. And what that did is it actually made many more people eligible for health insurance through the health insurance marketplace. Previously there was a 400% federal poverty level gap on the people who could receive financial assistance from the government to help pay for their premiums. Well, that cap went away now.
Oh, so what does that mean for the average person who is applying for health insurance?
Well, so sorry to interrupt, but that means that a lot more people now are going to be eligible for health insurance and to get the financial assistance from the government to help you pay your premiums. That's really important. And in fact, the information that we received from the Pennsylvania Insurance Department, because here in Pennsylvania, we run our own health insurance marketplace. It's called Penny. And what we learned from the Pennsylvania Insurance Department is right now, people enrolling, 72% are paying $50 or less a month for their health insurance premiums. And 50% are paying $1 a month or less for their health insurance premiums. So, that means health insurance now has just become much more affordable for a lot of people.
Because I have to tell you, we dish out in my house $1,900 every month for our health insurance premiums. Every single month. And so, is there an income gap for this? in order for them to access this health insurance?
So the cap's been eliminated. Like I said before, it used to be 400% of the federal poverty level, and the cap has been eliminated. But that said, people who are still making high income,
Right.
Won't get any or much financial assistance. This is really geared to the middle class person now,
Okay.
Again, who can really get financial assistance now and help pay for their health insurance premiums.
So I'm literally trying to break it down a little bit more for my WRD listening audience. When you say middle class, give me an idea of what that income looks like.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. So, again, somebody who was making, a single person making $51,000 a year, that was the limit before. So again, that limit's gone away. But now the Pennsylvania Insurance Department would tell you a family of four making up to about $125,000 a year would still be able to get some financial assistance. So I think that gives you a good idea that it really is middle income people. For an individual, that would probably be around, $60,000 a year as an individual. So again, real middle class incomes would still be eligible to get some financial assistance now.
Thank you. That helped a lot of people. So we talked about who was eligible to apply during this special enrollment period.
Yeah, and so anybody who doesn't have health insurance now, and this is the other thing that's really important about what the legislation did. Anyone who's paying more than 8.5% of their income towards health insurance, then even if they're getting insurance from some other way, they can go into the marketplace and get this financial assistance. So that's the other important component of the law. Again, anyone paying more than 8.5% of their income towards health insurance premiums, they can also now go into the marketplace and get financial assistance.
So when you say go in and get financial assistance, does that mean that they have to cancel that insurance and start their insurance at the marketplace? Or is the marketplace insurance going to help them to recoup some of what they've put into the insurance that they're paying for now? I'm asking all of these questions specifically.
Yeah, no, you'd actually have to get the insurance through the marketplace. Okay, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing that's important to know about is, again, Medicaid expanded in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Anyone making up to 133% of the federal poverty level, and I know you like numbers, so that's about $17,000 a year for an individual, about $32,000 a year for a family of four. You actually can get, free health insurance through Medicaid, and that's been really important in Pennsylvania. About 1 million people now have health insurance thanks to Medicaid expansion, and again, that's thanks to the Affordable Care Act. So really, right now, if you don't have health insurance, this is the time to call the health insurance marketplace, and I can give you that phone number.
Please do. Thank you.
It's 844-844-8040. And there are people there. There's a call center. They're open every day. There's people there who can help you figure out, do you qualify for financial assistance, and help you figure out what's the best plan for you. Because, Andrea, the other thing that's really important to remember is this is regular private health insurance. This is Independence Blue Cross and Aetna and Cigna and UPMC and Highmark. So this is regular quality private health insurance.
You just answered that question, because for those of us who have personal choice and we want to be able to continue that coverage, my husband and I are getting older, for instance, as an example, and we want to be able to continue the high quality coverage that we have so that we don't have to worry about, getting referrals and all those other things. It's nice to know that we could compare, right? All right, so how can people compare the cost when shopping in the marketplace?
So there's two things I'd recommend. One is there's a website, Pennie, Pennie, Pennie.com. That stands for Pennsylvania Insurance Exchange. So Pennie.com. You can actually put in your information there, like your income, your age, where you live, and it'll actually pull up all the plans for you, and you can do real-time comparison shopping. But I can't stress enough that health insurance is complicated, and I do encourage people to call that phone number I gave you, because, again, part of the law is there's a part of the program called navigators. These are people who will actually help you navigate the system and help you figure out what is the best plan for you. And the other important thing to know is that's free, unbiased opinions that they have to give you. They must give you neutral assistance. And then it's also available in dozens of languages. So if English isn't your first language, you call that call center and they get you connected with someone who speaks your language and can help you through the process.
Oh, wow. This is a great segment. I like talking to you.
I like talking to you too. And there is one more piece of information I hope I can give, because what's so important about what you were saying earlier is if you want to make sure you get to keep your same doctor, or do they cover the prescriptions I need? You know, all of that is why you want to compare the plans. And that's why I really want to encourage people to call the call center and get people who can actually help you, walk you through the process, because it is complicated.
Okay, so it's 844-840.
You got it.
That's easy. That's easy enough. That's wonderful. Diane Fassett said, great. The middle class need help too. Thank you, AARP. Great segment. Laverne says, this is great info. I am so happy to hear. So let me ask you this. You said normally people need to enroll shortly before the start of a new year, but we're talking today about a special enrollment period. Is this a permanent change or a one-time offer?
So as of right now, it's a one-time offer until August 15th. So again, that was part of President Biden signing the American Rescue Plan. That was part of the legislation. So the special enrollment period goes till August 15th. Then regular enrollment will start again, probably November 1st. But the other thing that's important for people to remember, that at any time of the year, if you have what's called a qualifying life event, which is a pretty long list. If you get married, if you get divorced, if you have a baby, if you move states, if you lost your insurance due to losing your job, or just because you changed your job, you can roll in the marketplace anytime during the year if you have one of these qualifying life events. So that's important to remember as well.
Oh, wow. Thank you. So, Joanne, you are the newly appointed AARP Pennsylvania State President. I love talking to you because you've given us a plethora of great information. The people are over here really enjoying this segment a lot, so I'm grateful to you for that. There's opportunities for people to lower the cost of their health insurance, that they're able to, if they're making a family of four making up to $125,000 a year, or an individual making up to $60,000 per year, they can gain access to this. You said 72% are paying $50 a month. I would love to know what that looks like. and 50% are paying $1.
Yeah.
$1.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me that people don't access this because they don't think they can afford it. So talking to you has opened up eyes and ears. People are going, wow, we can actually do this. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye today?
Well, just what you just said. You know, I encounter people all the time who just assume the insurance through what was called Obamacare is unaffordable, and it's just not true. Please make that phone call the call center, find out, especially now, thanks to the American Rescue Plan. This really was a lifeline to middle income and lower income people. Please call the call center and find out if you can get health insurance. We found out with this pandemic how important health insurance is. Yes. Please don't go without it because you assume you can't afford it.
Amen. Again, that call number is 844-844. Michael, write this down, please, because you're about to get a deluge of calls from people about this. The call center number is 844-844-8040. You have until August 15th. It's a one-time offer where it's opened up for you to go ahead and apply for health insurance through the marketplace. They've opened it up, also removed the cap, so if you're a middle income individual of $60,000 or a family of four of up to $125,000, you can still get health insurance, private health insurance at a low cost because of the America Affordable Care Act.
American Rescue Plan.
American Rescue Plan. And through the Obamacare, which is
and
called
through Obama.
Right. There
Affordable Care Act. Yeah.
And Affordable Care Act. Thank you so much, Ms. Grassi. Congratulations, and we look forward to hearing more from you in the upcoming days and months, okay?
Well, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This is so good. See, I love these segments. I love when we have these kinds of segments on The Source where we can talk about these kinds of things. It was a pleasure talking to you, Ms. Grassi. I'll see you soon.
Same here. Thanks for having me, really.
All
Thanks
right.
for educating your listeners. We appreciate the opportunity. Take care.
You're so welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Viola from Delaware, how are you?
I'm great. I just thought I'd call and let you know I can't look at Facebook because I'm on the road, and I just left Hempstead, New York. I'm on my way to Manhattan to see my cousin. I've been up since 2:30, 3 o'clock this morning. Drove from Delaware to Philadelphia, picked up the lady, and Queens. So I'm just on a mission.
Yeah.
But the sun is shining.
Yes, ma'am. And it's hot as Hades outside too. So so we're getting ready. I have to take another I have to take
it's
another
92 degrees. 92 degrees here in New York right now.
It is. I can only imagine. It's hot outside too here in Philadelphia.
All right. Well, I thought I'd get another call in because just in case when you go on vacation, we won't be talking. I'll have to talk to whoever is sitting in on for you. But
so you know, Viola, you follow me on Facebook, right? Yeah.
Yes. I enjoyed everything that Dr. Waller said.
Yes.
Dr. Waller said.
Yes.
I thought it started on Sunday.
Yes. So while I am out, I am not on vacation. I am literally out working. So while I am out, you can follow me on my Facebook page. You'll see some of those videos. You'll see what I am up to. You'll see, and then you and I can compare notes about where you are in the country versus where I am in the country. Okay?
Yes. All right. Be safe. Be safe.
All right, my sister. Take it easy, okay?
Hello, my Word
Love
family.
you.
I got to say hello to Word family.
Yes, ma'am. Talk to you soon. Be
All
careful
right.
out there.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This morning I witnessed a car accident. And that's on my Facebook page too. I just want to talk about the goodness of Philadelphians. You know, we oftentimes talk about what we are not doing right and how we can't get things right. Oh, Lord, hold on. I think you better call Tyrone. Hey, Tyrone, what's going on, my brother?
Well, mother, I had to make sure that I get a little taste of Mother Earth before she vanished for a moment.
I'm not vanishing. Y'all ain't right. I'm not vanishing. At least I'm telling you I'm...
Well, look, I don't know how I'm going to be able to exist for a month without you, so I'm going to have to find out how you traveling, where you at, so I can at least peep at you every now and then.
That's
you know how
right.
they say? I got the grace upon your magnificence, my sister.
You know Woody's about to call in and have a whole fit on you.
Hey, look, I don't care. I just know that I wanted to make sure I got my goodies in before he did, because I know he's going to have to say something.
I'm on Thursday too. I have great guests on Thursday too. I'm so excited for what the programming. I love y'all. You just don't know. Every day I'm like, what can I bring for the people? So I won't be going long, Tyrone. I promise I will not be going long. Oh, Gary Bryan said, I'm feeling you, Tyrone.
Yeah, well, look, you got that just, check in every now and then and say, hey, y'all.
I will.
Everything is good. But look, Mother, I think something there, and y'all hit it. Well, you've been hitting it on the spot all the time, Mother, because, again, we got to really look at what's going on with these young people in the sense that we are their mothers and fathers, or their big brothers and big sisters. Whatever is going on with them, and for the life of me, this is my issue. My issue is that the devastation and the hardship that they are creating, how they don't see it. But the other thing is what is in that is, making them do the things that they do. That's the thing that's bothering me. That's why I keep saying,
so let me tell you this, Tyrone. So let me share this with you.
Right.
Yesterday, I interviewed a set of twins, Myra and Lord Jesus, Kyra. I can't remember now. The Johnstone twins. They were principals in the Philadelphia School District. They just retired, like very recently, and they're planning to open up a good restaurant in the Elkins Park area. So I went to visit them this morning, and one of the things that Myra said to me was this. She said, "We are we're literally starting this restaurant so we can raise money to create safe spaces for our young children. She said the good majority of the children that are in special ed and special needs and all of that are the black boys. And she said until they got trained, they had trauma-informed training. She said because when the things were going on in the children's homes, they'd come to school, they'd rise up on the adults rise upon them, and nobody's hearing one another. She said when we've learned to back off and let them cool down, then they're opening up and they're telling us the things that are going on with them. That has helped them more. You know what I mean? So she said, as adults fighting fire with these students, because you have to remember, Tyrone, children are not born angry. There has to be a set of circumstances or a set of things around them that's creating the sort of environment, and that includes adults who don't hear them, adults who ignore them, adults who just, push them off to the side and leave them to their own devices. And the one thing that creates a disturbance for children who make them, the number one reason why young people join gangs and things like that is because they feel a sense of family. So the family structure, you understand what I'm saying? And
right.
So
I came up, I've been a gang member most of my my childhood life. I was
Wait a minute, member. You were a gang member? You were a gang member, Tyrone?
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
You're some
yes,
gangsters.
I was a Carpenter streeter. I was from 25th Carpenter. We was, so, I mean.
Wait a minute. So that's why you know what you know.
And again, keep saying that whatever is going on, is like when you mention about, where they sleep, when you mention about, I don't know what you or the rest, saying their big brother or their mother or their aunt, or their girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, their living environment. I mean, when they go home, so we talked about this last year before the pandemic about, how they living, where they living. And then when Nick hit it to talk about where they laying, where do they lay their head down?
Right. And Tyrone, let me share this with you, Tyrone. The mental health issues have gone out. Steve Jobs is what comes to mind when he says there's something dangerous about putting phones in front of our children, these devices where they're on all the time and they're watching other people living these quote-unquote fantastic lives, and oftentimes it's really they're not living those lives. It's what they put forward, right? Dolores Davis just wrote on Facebook, she said, yes, mother, we need to help find out what is going on with our children. I just heard a 19 young man who hung himself this morning, so heard about this. And it used to be that we would say, well, it was the white children who are doing it. It's all the children that are doing it. The black children. I've learned of a few of them in New Jersey. 12-year-old black girl committed suicide. 13, 16. What is going on in their heads, and what is it that they're dealing with that they don't feel like they can come and talk to us? You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's like and then it's so many opportunities, and they got and their potential. That's the thing. I ain't going to ever forget with Solomon Jones. He was saying that their potential, their brilliance, their gift. When they do things, it's amazing what our young people do and how they do it. But just get that caught up in this environment. But the other thing, Mother, and I mentioned this on Charles Edison today. Back in the school days, the ones that was having problems learning, the ones that couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't count, they were the ones that was, creating all the disturbances and always had to go to the principal because of, whatever their learning disability, was at that time. So I see a large, what they said, connection between, literacy and again, their behavior.
So Tyrone, I got to take a break, so I'm going to have to have a guest coming on at 2:20. But listen, Diane Fassett said, is this the Tyrone that my husband knows? William Fassett is my hubby and used to live next door to the Riddicks. Do you know him?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he knows your husband. All right, Tyrone, I got to go. Love you, man. Talk to you soon,
well,
okay?
Mother, we got to keep lifting them up. We got to keep lifting them up and make them put them guns down.
We will.
Guns.
All right, Tyrone.
All right. Love you,
Thank
Mother.
you. Love you too, honey.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy.
I will. Bye-bye. I got one more day, y'all. I'm not dying. I'm just going to go away for a couple of days, you know. Let me quickly, because I have two. Diane, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
I literally have 2 minutes before I must go to break. Can you get it in 2 minutes?
I just want to thank you so much for your valuable information. And I want to say something about, remember when you had the young children over there, one that was flying a small airplane?
Yes.
Yeah, well, one of my nephews in Williamsburg, Virginia, he's 16, and he was able to fly one of those.
You're breaking up, Diane. Here's what I want to tell you to do. Well, hold on, Diane. I'm going to go to break. I'm going to ask you to call back in at 2:40, okay? So I can hear you better because you're breaking up. Thank you, my sister. I'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye. All right. Oh, my Lord. You are listening to The Source. Wait a minute, Michael. I see something here that I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. The time is now 2:21 p.m. and the temperature is 93 degrees. This time and temperature check is sponsored by SEPTA. From safe to seamless, convenient to contactless, and local to express, SEPTA is the Philly way to go. Plan your trip at iseptaphilly.com. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
When we look around during this pandemic time, we have many things to consider with people with whom we are involved. A few of these things are religion, gender, politics, race. They're working or maybe not working. A lawyer to help with legal matters. Well, I tell you this, I gave myself an obituary party. I invited about 75 people, and the undertaker, I invited the undertaker to my party. Let me tell you what, we went to the hotel, we laughed, danced, had fun, and I explained why I gave myself this obituary party. What do you think about that? Would you give this kind of party for yourself? I tell you, it makes you feel so good to know that your family did not have to worry about certain important things while they're crying through their tears. I was celebrating my passing from this world while I am still living. That's called an obituary party.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. I am now going to introduce you to a young lady who is doing amazing things. Kirsten Beverly is a nationally certified sommelier and the owner of Wine and Small Bites. She's a Philadelphia native who now resides in Delaware County. Her love for wine began when she was invited out by a friend for dinner at a BYOB restaurant. Experiencing the meal as her friend strategically paired each course with a wine to complement it sparked her interest in wine and food pairing. From that moment forward, she indulged herself in free classes and local wine events in an effort to learn as much as possible. I'm not even going to go because I need you to tell us all about the wine and small bites. Kirsten and I actually met at a baby shower some weeks ago, and she's like, I didn't know it was you. I said, Kirsten, I didn't know it was you either. Welcome to the source, sweetie. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I am doing amazing, amazing. And yeah, it's such a small world. I'm like, oh my God.
And see, that's the thing though, when I go out to places, I don't tell anybody my name. I just kind of sit there and talk and love on people, you know. I firmly believe in that we shouldn't believe in our own press clippings. And so when you saw me at that event, I was just chilling in the corner with Mike Jarrett. He was working every nerve ending, and we were laughing and carrying on. So no, you probably would not have known if someone there didn't connect us. So you and I connected through Joanna Bartholomew, who sent you my way some time ago. You had a couple of family emergencies, so that stopped us from having the conversation. So let me start here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well. Mentally, of course, all those things are resolving. Business is doing amazing. Really, really great place. Thank you so much for asking.
Oh, you're quite welcome. So tell me about Wine and Small Bites. Listen, honey, where are you having these things? Because, you know, Mother needs to know. I am not I don't imbibe, but I like my small bites, and I have a lot of friends. When we do our Sunday dinners, my husband and I, we have more wine and liquor in this house, and neither one of us drink. Because our friends like their liquor, they like their wines, right? So tell me how you got started. I did briefly talk about it, but tell me, how did you get fully started? Who funded you if you needed funding, and where are you today?
So, of course, Wine and Small Bites, it really came from my love of food and wine, and a few gentle nudges from some really close friends to tell me that I should go ahead and get it started. I know you mentioned where am I doing these things at? So it started out with public classes. And so I was taking the time to take those free classes wherever they were available and to do my own research and studying up on different topics, may it have been regions or different kinds of wine. And then I was hosting public classes where I brought people together and I taught them everything that I knew. And I paired really fun bites. And the whole purpose of the small bites is that I take items that you already have available inside of your cabinet, inside of your refrigerator, and teach people how to put them together in really elevated ways. So that way, something, you know, as simple as a slice of pizza, you know, you can elevate pizza to be something that can seem very high end. And, you know, the whole mission is just making food and wine something that everyone can enjoy, but also something that can be very approachable for everyone, because wine can be something that's seen as very pretentious, you know. When you go to a restaurant and you look at a wine list, you become quickly overwhelmed, you know? And so it has been my mission to teach people how to navigate the wine list, how to navigate your wine and spirit store, but then also how to take yourself on a date, you know, when you're at home.
Tell me something, because I've never quite acquired a taste for wine. I kind of like the dessert ones, you know, Jamaican, you know, everything is sweet. So, but you piqued my interest when you said pizza, for instance. What kind of wine would you pair with pizza that would elevate the taste of both? My God.
Gotcha. So pizza, you got to think about, you always want to pair something with like the star of the dish. It's usually the protein, but in this case, it would be, you would want to take a look at the cheese. And then also the tomato sauce. So you want to kind of balance those two things out. Cheese can be very strong in flavor, and then tomatoes tend to be very acidic. And so the best thing to do is to get a delicious, approachable Pinot Noir, which is a red wine. And so it's going to balance out the acid because it's a low acid wine. So it's going to balance out the acid of the tomatoes and just make it a really nice bite to have.
Wow. And what if you don't like tomato sauce? So we get white pizzas in here. What if it's just a white pizza with the cheese and the vegetables and the
So then if you're just focusing just on the cheese and the vegetables, I always like to recommend a Pinot Grigio. That's usually, I call those Pinot Noir and Pinot Grigio. For me, I call them gateway red, gateway white. It's a really way to expand your palate from something sweet into just a different realm, and then you start to become, you know, more open to trying some of those bigger whites, some of those bigger reds by trying just a little gateway. It's the way to get your foot in the door.
Right. I think you're onto something here because I talked about the twins that I met that are opening up a restaurant, and they're having an event space right next door. Beautiful event space. And they were like, anybody who wants to come over and have little meetings, and I could just see you there with your wine and small bites and working with people so that they can understand, you know, how to pair the different foods. So you started this. You started with the public groupings of people. What happened after that?
So then it turned into private things. So then people wanted to have this experience inside of their houses.
Right.
The mission of Wine and Small Bites, one, because we want to make it approachable, is that we've always tried to go into intimate settings. So my classes were never more than 25 people. And so going inside of people's homes, one, it let me kind of like sneak into their cabinets and see what they had. But also just bring it to them, and they can physically see me prepare these bites and get to ask as many questions that they wanted to. And so COVID really allowed me to have that opportunity with people. I also realized that I actually like to cook like real food. I cook it on my own, but people begin to enjoy my food. And so I started to do dinner for twos, where I offered 3-course meals and came into people's houses. I had a chef jacket. I had upgraded to a chef jacket and cooked in their kitchens and served them meals and taught them everything. I mean, little details as small as, you know, a twist off top versus a cork, and just understand history, but doing it in a really fun, creative way that you don't forget it. Like sharing a fact that, you know, that you're going to take and you're able to share with your friends. The point of Wine and Small Bites is not for you to continuously come back. You're going to tell a friend who's going to want to come in and find more out about it, but to take the knowledge and just share it with as many people as you can, so that way we can just change the world one glass at a time.
And with all the stuff that's going on, Lord have mercy. So how can people connect with you so are you taking reservations to come and cook at people's homes?
So yes, so people can connect with me through my website, winesmallbites.com. There is a form, a contact form to fill out.
Wait, say that again for me. Wines and Small Bites?
Just winesmallbites.com.
There you go. Okay.
And it will allow people, there's a contact area. There's also a wealth of knowledge all over the site where you can kind of read some blogs that I've written. And there's also some video content as well for education, but you can just fill out that contact form and I'll get right back to you. I'm usually good within 24 hours. I do consultation, explain the pricing. I also really like to dig in deep with people to find out where they are. So I want to meet you where you are as far as what kind of wines you're currently drinking, to then create a menu and create a tasting experience that's going to elevate you from the tasting.
I can hear the muckety mucks in Philadelphia going, oh, we need to call her. I don't want to cook my dinner. I'd like to have a private chef come over and pair the food with the wine. So you make the meals too?
I make the meals, yeah. And so in the pandemic, of course, I was pushed to try out this cooking thing. Of course, I always cook, but I started a YouTube channel.
Right.
And so I literally just started making some of my favorite dishes and then pairing a wine at the end. I also have my own wine brand. And so it gave me
What's your wine brand called?
It's called Arrived.
You better. Okay.
And Arrived is my baby. I have 4 varietals currently under the Arrived brand. It was a goal that I set before my 30th birthday that I would launch this wine brand.
Yes.
If I did it, then I would have arrived. And so I launched it 4 days before my 30th birthday. And so that's how the name came. I currently have a Malbec from South America, a Carmenere from South America, a Riesling from California, and a Sauvignon Blanc from California.
Oh, you better come over. You know what I love? You know what I love about this is that I say this over and again, and I want people to fully get it. When we put our minds to it, we are the most creative people on earth. We can take salt and make a souffle. You know, if we know the ingredients to add to that salt to get that souffle where it's supposed to be. You've literally taken something that you knew very little to nothing about. You educated yourself with free classes. Listen to me, y'all. They don't always have to cost money. Free classes. And then I am assuming that as you were making money, you were also investing back into your business.
Absolutely, which is how I became a nationally certified sommelier. I took those classes. They were very vigorous, very hard, but it all paid off.
How difficult is it to become a sommelier?
It is really, 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 really hard. So level 1 and level 2, it was like, oh, okay, I got this, because it's kind of stuff that I had already been studying. But level 3 is when you have to literally close your eyes and you are calling out the soil, the region, if it's what kind of climate it grew in. You literally have to call out everything from A to B, and then finally take a wild guess at what kind of wine you're drinking, which is very difficult when you've been drinking a lot.
So let me ask you this, because my friends and I, we like going to the Napa Valley and finding all the. Would you do tours with folks like us who may want to do that somewhere down the line?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm a big fan of. I always point people in the direction of the Five Finger Lakes in New York, in upstate. There are 5 different wine trails, and I've been quite a few times. And each time, I haven't even been able to scratch the surface of the amount of wineries that are in this area.
So, you know, we've been to the Finger Lakes. We've gone, my friend Carla, Italy is the next place, but COVID has just left us grounded. So, the Finger Lakes, which is easy for us to get to. And one of my friends went to Colombia, so we are very familiar with that area. Okay, so you would do tours there for folks? You would take folks there?
Yes, we would have an amazing time and with some amazing food.
Somebody wrote here, she said, go ahead, girlfriend, you have it going on, beautiful. I love to see all the talents of our black queens and kings have. You do. You are creatively talented. And so have you started hiring staff yet?
So I do hire staff for the events. As I'm thinking probably in August, I'm going to be launching a full product line that's going to feature some fun stuff because I've added cooking into it. So there'll be some aprons, custom wine glasses, and of course the full launch of the Sauvignon Blanc. And so with that, I'm thinking of doing a pop-up
Please tell
shop.
me your stuff is trademarked and copyright written. Please tell me your stuff is trademarked. I
am in the process of working with the lawyer.
Yeah, as long as you're in that process, you're safe. Please, please.
So the trademark lawyer, so she's helping me out. That's her name on Instagram. Just a shameless plug for her because she's amazing helping me through.
Yeah. You need to, because you're fully onto something, and I'd like you to copyright your products, the things that you're doing, and she'll walk you through the process of how to make that all happen. So when your trademark comes, if anybody tries to do things that Laurie Lee Barrett said, "Ooh, child, I'm about to start drinking." And they come and they try to, label their thing arrived, they're going to have to cease and desist or pay your behind royalties. You understand what I'm saying? So all those things make a difference in doing what, so that you can keep your business not only afloat but thriving as folks see what you're doing. Because there are always folks doing this kind of stuff, but you have to set yourself apart from the rest. So they can go to winesmallbites.com. Is there a phone number where they can reach you to, or you just want them to go through the website?
They can absolutely always. I'm very, very responsive. So that phone number is 267-581-1620.
1620. So now here's my final question. Jamaican. We love Jamaican food. My friends that I hang out with and travel with are mostly Jamaican because we're crazy like that. If we are to pair a wine with oxtails, what would that wine be?
So I'm actually going to recommend the Carmenere. And see, here's the reason why. I love how rich Jamaican food is. It's very rich in flavor. Oxtails, they tend not to be spicy, at least the ones Yeah, they are. You can handle them. I like spice.
I eat
Herman
spice too.
would pair really nicely with the brown sauce. Yeah, has a nice undertone of green pepper. It's not spicy at all, but a very, very nice undertone of green pepper that is delicious. I was automatically in my mind thinking about curry. I thought you were going to say curry. I was like, oh, I got one for that too.
Curry is easy, man. We love our oxtails and our so that you know your stuff. You absolutely know your stuff. It is such a pleasure. Finally connecting with you. And when the arrived products come back on the air, okay? Reach back out to me and I'll show the folks what you're doing, because you are now encouraging, inspiring, and motivating a whole bunch of black women and white women and brown boys and brown girls and everybody in between to do what you've just done. You took COVID and turned that lemon into lemonade. Thank you so much and congratulations for all that you've done so far, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, my sister. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. All right, so, oh, well, she's gone now, T. So T would she'd like to know for curry. I'll find out for curry. I'll find out for the curry. So, usually in the Jamaican culture, there's we pair rums and that kind of stuff, and whiskey, and but I don't imbibe. I'm not a drinker, so I don't. It was just difficult for me. I just don't fully like the taste of alcohol, which my husband laughs. He says, neither one of us drink. What the hell are we doing? But folks, we have a litany of a great wine collection. Every time I travel, I bring back a different kind of wine. I want to make sure that the people that sit at our dinner table gets to try. And we have the whole Jamaican collection, the Appleton rums, all of that. So if they want to try that with something else that they can. And I learned that growing up with my father. He had an extensive wine collection and alcohol collection, but he didn't drink. So I think that's where we got it from in our home. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back. Callers, you can call in after these messages.
The holistic colonoscopy, no IV sedation. Your colonoscopy is due. You don't have someone to drive you home. You don't want to drink the prep. You don't want to be sedated with the Michael Jackson drug propofol. Does that sound like you? Call Blake Gastroenterology at 215-849-4902. Visit the website www.jsblake.com and make your appointment today. Drive yourself home after the holistic colonoscopy.
A Night of Passion makes a married doctor question his assumptions about love, lust, and monogamy. In The Marriage Pass, a tale of domestic suspense from Brianna Cole, smart, sexy, and filled with drama. The Marriage Pass explores the boundaries of a relationship by taking the what if of a free pass. One partner's consequence-free night with their greatest temptation to a new level. Pick up your copy of The Marriage Pass by Brianna Cole today, everywhere where books are sold. And for more information, visit BriannaCole.com. That's BriannaCole.com.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Now's the time when if you'd like to call in, you can. 215-634-8065. I knew a couple of folks called in. I asked Michael to ask them to call back around this time so that I can talk to them uninterrupted. It is not my goal to rush people off the phone. If you take the time to call in, I'm taking the time to listen to you. I'd also like to tell you the tip line for the Philadelphia Police Department. If you see a crime, know a crime, report a crime, 215-686-8477. I witnessed a car being T-boned this morning, everybody gathered around the guy who happened to be Jamaican. His accent was really thick. They were behind him were two college students who were going off to school. They followed the white Toyota Sienna that hit him, got the license plates, and brought it back. And everybody came out and was making sure he was okay while the police came, and the ambulance and whatever else. And so it was great to see that side of Philadelphia. We do love and care each other. We take care. Bernita Francine, every time I put a website up on the social media page, Facebook flags it and says it's inappropriate. And so I would ask you to call Michael and get the website. It's Wines, WINES, Small Bites, winesmallbites.com. That is the website. So I just wanted to say kudos to the people who were around that saw this accident, that stood up to help this young man, this gentleman, until it was all resolved and his car was taken away on a tow truck. All right. And to everybody else, the people that I texted to send a cop, there was just a lot. There were a lot of people just doing what they needed to do to make sure he got a good result. And so we will find that white Toyota Sienna, because we took the license plate down and reported that too. All right. So Prince, how you doing, sir?
You be having like the best shows, you know that?
I be out here, What's going on, sir?
So look, if your people who host aren't politically astute, then they should stay out of politics that they don't know about. Do you realize that the most opportune time for the people who picked up trash to go on strike was during this pandemic?
Yes.
They probably could have got anything they wanted and then some.
Yes.
But they chose not to. Some of them even chose to some of them had died in the process, and they chose not to. So when you're a host or when anybody understands Philadelphia, it's always been a union town. And the opportunity is to strike while the getting is good. So if you have a comment about a union that's perhaps going to strike for their livelihood, then they have union leaders that you can call that can come on this show. But for you to say that somebody's not worthy of a pay raise or a pay increase under the circumstances that they haven't experienced before of dealing with children and dealing with children's mothers in the background and the behavior of doing this, which is new to them and new to the urban single mom, single family household, experiencing all kind of things from guns being played with to loud music to people walking butt naked in the background. You can't deny them an opportunity for a livelihood based on being a part of a union, saying that the failure of the kids are primarily based on the teachers. That statement is not just untrue.
Okay, so you clearly heard something. What happened?
I heard a host say that the teachers shouldn't get a raise because the students are failing in the city of Philadelphia. Trying to make the correlation. Trying to make the
correlation.
There you go. Thank you. Here you go. Trying to make the correlation between them not having the ability, them not teaching the kids under these circumstances, and that's why these kids are failing. Granted, Philadelphia school system has not had the highest ranking of other areas, and that's pretty much structured that way. But there's no correlation under this pandemic because the pandemic was new to everyone. And the offering of the opportunity to either keep a kid back or to advance a kid with certain programs, you need to let the parents or you need to have certain groups come together so we can say, hey, I don't want my kids to be left back, but would you consider paying for a tutorer for them to have some one-on-one teaching or training? But to try to throw teachers under the bus and to disappoint, to be of some disappointment. Andrea, he don't realize that the largest union in the United States is the teachers union.
Teachers union, absolutely, and it's a powerful one.
It sure is, and so I'm just so upset when I hear this this aggressive approach to start a problem that you can't defend. And if you are representing anybody else, a station or an entity, then you can ill afford to start this kind of problem. I just had a problem with the host because the host was adamant. He was vehemently saying that they shouldn't get a raise because the kids are failing. You know, not looking at all of the obstacles and the
right, and not only all of the obstacles, Prince, but for someone who's been in education, who's been also married to an educator, I see all sides of it. This is why I say this, Prince. We must be emotionally intelligent when we're having these kinds of conversations, because you have to ask questions on all sides. Oftentimes, teachers' hands are tied. Oftentimes, they've tried everything that they can to do to get that child to where there is, and oftentimes, politics comes into play, right? Where the teacher is told, pass that child anyway because mom and dad is such and such of such and such and such and such. And so we have to look at all sides of this. Right? You cannot, again, the same thing I said with the police officers, you can't lump all teachers in that one bucket, because there are plenty of teachers who are doing their very best. And because teachers are not appreciated, there has been an influx of resignations. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? I just met 2 today who are 42 years old who have resigned from the Philadelphia School District to go start something else. So guess what?
Right.
Like,
and this is why I waited to have this conversation with you, because some people who do this job, you know, don't have the wherewithal to understand the dynamics of what's happening in our city. There's certain, and I wrote a book called Site Control, and there's certain controls in this city that if you don't have a certain kind of what I don't want to use. If you don't have the diplomacy or the level of understanding to have the deliverables when you're in the room, you can ruin the deal. And
Absolutely.
So when you make these assertions to a group of teachers, you got both 22-year-olds all the way up to 60-year-old teachers who are in a profession who will stick together to come against our station because a host decided to go against them. A host that don't have no children inside the school district, don't live in this city right here, who he can walk and go and sit in the classroom, hadn't walked the hall, hadn't seen the schools that have gone from bad to better. And so to make a blind statement from D.C. is irresponsible, period. And so to get into a battle with me on your opinion about something is unfair. Until you go to that school and you say, okay, it's failing because of this, because of that, and because of this, how can we work with a group of people to help that school better itself? Because if you do not get better, you do not get accredited.
Right. There
Period.
you go.
But you know,
there you
do
go.
not blame.
And also put pieces in place that support those teachers. I'm telling you, I've seen some nightmares. I was a school board member. I've sat in districts where I have seen this stuff. So I'm not this is not conjecture on my end, right? I've actually been in the middle of this shiggity at the National School Board Association level, at the Pennsylvania School Board Association level, and working with teachers across this country. I must agree with you. That was an irresponsible statement to make. I gotta tell you. I don't agree with you there. And I don't always agree with you, but I'm telling you because.
But see, the thing about it is that we are here to create solutions for a bad city that's in a bad state that's in a bad state right now. We are not here to begin to ignite a fire, that we can't put out.
There you go.
Because the variables aren't there for you. Number one, you don't live here. Number two, you ain't got no kids in the school system. And number two, the experience that you experienced in the school system when you was a kid getting bullied is unlike the experience in the school system today.
Yeah.
And so all I would ask is that we be responsible enough to want to put the people at the table. Call Jordan up and have him come and ask him, hey, Jordan, you guys are looking for a contract. You know, what is that you see that we don't see, and can you help us see what you see so we can either advocate for you or make some suggestions?
Right, and not only that, Prince, the amount of the fact that teachers spend so much of their salary. Again, these 2 young ladies that just resigned from the Philadelphia School District, just retired from the school district, they said they spend so much of their money trying to help these children because there's so much red tape. So teachers end up coming out of their pockets. In fact, I don't think they're paid enough. quite frankly. But that's just me talking.
And they're not reimbursed. And I'm not going to
No, and they're not reimbursed for this stuff. They're not reimbursed for it. But they're being held accountable for the learning of the children, and yet there's all this red tape in order for them to get the simplest of things to make sure that those children succeed. Yo, there is too many variables for us to make unilateral statements like that. I'm telling you.
That's correct.
And I don't usually get in the dog fight. I don't usually have an opinion one way or the other. But I'm telling you on this, I'm telling you, there were too many variables to make that comment. And you don't want to create enemies of people who are out here doing their diggity dang best for these children and without knowing the answers.
You know what I tell people? And it's quite simple. And the foreword in my second book is dedicated, part of the foreword is dedicated to my niece, who is a teacher, who graduated from Millersville, who went to Miss Veronica during the school of mathematics, physics, and science, and after-school program, and she went to Dobbins. So her heart is in her city and in her profession. So that's why I think it was just irresponsible for him not to have the head of the teachers union on and ask him, hey, I hear you guys are contemplating a strike. And then let him articulate, this is the stress that they have been under. They've gotten more work by administrators coming in from New York and Virginia, where Heights was, or Maryland, that's telling them what to do, that have never sat in a classroom.
Right. Yes, that was part of the problem, too. Yeah, Prince, I got to go.
Thank you. This is my soapbox. I appreciate it.
I love you because I now got 2 other people on, and I got guests coming on at 3, and I'm trying to navigate it all, and I'm trying not to have Michael put a spear through my forehead because I'm now 1 minute past commercial time. So I'll talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is a number to call in. We will be right back after these messages.
What's up, Philly? It's Sincerely Sarita. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable, online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1, a world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2, a laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet, and learning materials, all provided at no cost to you. 3, a safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
This Word Wellness Vignette is brought to you by Penn Medicine. Word Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation.
This is Helana, your resident expert health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. Let's talk about bringing laughter into your home. Have you ever looked at someone you didn't know and burst out laughing? Me neither. But I know when the feeling of spontaneous laughter overcomes me, there is no stopping it. A smile truly is worth 1,000 words. And these days, we need more of them. Wouldn't you agree? Did you know smiling can reduce your blood pressure, decrease your stress, and relax the body? In fact, children are known to smile 400 times a day, while the average adult only smiles 14 times per day. It's time we all tapped into our inner child. Bringing laughter back into your home can look like this. Watch a funny movie by yourself or with family. Revisit your favorite comedian's stand-up special, or take a dive down the YouTube rabbit hole of funny clips. Doodle, draw, or play a card game with the children in your life. See the world through their eyes. We sometimes think in order to laugh, we have to do specific things. Yet, we can choose to find the joy all around us every single day. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with Word. Happy, healthy living.
Stay well with Word. Connect with us at WURDradio.com. This Word Wellness Vignette was brought to you by Penn Medicine, committed to improving the health and lives of those in our communities and beyond. Be there this Friday at the Summer Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour as Tiffany Bacon broadcasts live from the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And stand with WURD Radio to amplify voices of the Black community as a digital 4WURD member for as low as $5 per month and receive a free gift for signing up. That's this Friday at the J.L. Wright Community Center, 3320 Haverford Avenue, or visit WURDradio.com. Start or renew your 4WURD membership today. The WURD Radio Newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio Newsletter. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source. Maurice, how are you?
I'm fine. I see, I heard you had the greatest of all call you today, and I'm so shocked. The old head Ron called you?
Yes, he did.
That's the greatest man alive. That's coming from a region from Southwest, and I'm pretty sure if most people realize that was Ron, it would be no URD without Ron.
Wow.
Ron used to be outside every event with his own bullhorn, telling people to come in and setting up before any activities start. He'd get the crowd ready.
Wow. Yeah, because we saw him. I saw him when we had the thing over at the Fresh Grocer. He was hilarious. He knew me quite well, too. Yes, he is.
But he had a fallout with one of the hosts, and he tried to ban it because he was getting more popularity.
What?
Yeah, I ain't going to say who it is because I don't want to draw his name through the mud because I love him, too. But still, you know, sometimes he shows his ways. He don't like nobody stealing the thunder. That's why he likes to cut me short when I make a point. But listen, this is what I've got to say. I'm sorry. Yesterday we talking about Miss Gardier, right?
Yes.
She's my councilwoman, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know some of the most horrific murders in Philadelphia happened in her area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I just passed her area yesterday after I talked to you, and they have a SWAT team already set up to go at any moment in the Salvation Army right there at 55th and Market because there's so much violence right there.
Right.
You know, the boys that got shot in the car to play basketball,
uh-huh.
Up there, 60th Street, that's all her territory, and the little boy getting shot in the leg when my mother was holding him. That's all her area, so she had no choice but to call for some type of action. Just to seem like she is responsible because all this is going down in her territory. But guess what the big problem is?
Right.
When the host asked her, have she talked to any young people, she paused because guess what? She hasn't said a word to a young person.
Ooh. Ooh.
He put her on the spot and asked her, have she talked to any young people about the situation in the neighborhood, and she had no idea.
Okay.
How are you going to solve it? That's just like me on drugs.
Yeah.
And instead of going to the crack house, I'm going to the CVS pharmacy.
Yeah.
I'm not asking the people where to get it at. So I'm just saying it's a sad occasion that all these clergy and all these politicians, if you notice that a lot of young people are in trouble, you talk to the young people.
Right, right.
And they need to have more black females on because you'll find out more from a black female than you'll find out from any male about what's really going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And they won't do it. I done went to several hosts. I done begged. You notice that these programs that they say they're trying to put together, ever since you've been on, I've been suggesting every one of those programs. Every single one of them. Now, all of a sudden, they get an epiphany after 800 bodies. Now they're saying, we should do this. When I said it before, when the count was only 70, I was telling them we don't have any, the kids don't have any future. They don't see tomorrow. You go down 52nd Street, there used to be Vendors Paradise. There's no vendors out there.
So wait. So Maurice, I actually now have in the waiting room some young people because I've got to do this. So let me get them, and then either I need George to call back at 3:40. I got to put you off now because I got to talk to them. We're going to hear from them what they think about all of this. Okay?
But you know what? I appreciate it, and we'll get off because that's who you need to ask the serious questions to, not these old fogies that just trying to get a payday. As,
I got them.
As he said, deaf hustlers.
Thank you, Maurice. Goodbye. All right, Michael, let them in for me, please. My favorite group of folks, they're bringing everybody together. They want to talk gun safety, health safety, parental and community responsible. This is the Bringing Everybody Together group, youth group. Richard Washington, born and raised in Philadelphia, he has dedicated himself to building lives by sharing his gift of motivating, teaching, and empowering others to be their very best. He is the founder of the youth. Ooh, mute your phones, Nadir. He is the founder of a youth and family organization called Bringing Everybody Together, BET. Brandon McDonald, a 13-year-old young man who attends Amy Northwest Middle School. He's currently the BET Youth Council President. Once you guys come in, mute yourselves, please. Ayana Dixon, 15 years old. I don't know how many of them are on. I see Ayana, so that's good. In the 9th grade and student at Kappa High School. She is a vocal major and loves to read and listen to music. Kyle Morris. I don't know if I see Kyle yet. I see Nadir. Hold on. So Nadir Mapp, 14 years old, 8th grade at Independence Charter School, and will be attending George Washington Carver High School for Engineering and Science. He's a member. Is there anybody else that I'm missing? Let me just double check. Let me come on over here. Let me just.
Brandon, I believe, is the last
Brandon.
one.
All right. I see Brandon. All right. So let me just go ahead and I did introduce Brandon, so that was good.
And good Nevin should be coming on. I'm sorry. Nevin should be
coming on. Okay. Good afternoon, all of you. So much stuff has happened since we last met. Father God. First of all, look, you all look like you grew. Brandon, you look like, is that a mustache I'm seeing, Brandon? You done grew a mustache over what is going on. Hi, Ayana. How are you, darling? You good? All right. And Nadir, how are you?
I'm good.
You're good? Nadir, you always look so serious. So we got some stuff to talk about. I love y'all. I love y'all. I actually miss talking to you guys. I'm tired of the old people. People my age, Mr. Washington's age. I'm tired of us. We just talk a bunch of yin yang and nothing's changing. And we're going to talk today about the violence in the city. I want you to talk to me about what is your opinion? What are you seeing happening out in the streets? What do you think the solutions are? You ready, Mr. Washington? I'm going to start with you, and then I'm going to go into, who are those two darling young men behind you?
So those are youth council members. Actually, they're now in high school. This shot may have been about 3 years ago. But you know how on your iPhotos or whatever it might be, it pops up and give you a memory?
Yes.
So I said, let me put that in my background just to represent, since they couldn't be here with us today.
Okay.
All and right. Because I'm growing too. You didn't say I was growing, but I've been drinking milk and eating healthy. I'm growing too.
I see a mustache on Brandon. I even seen Nadir look like he got a little something going on. Nadir, how old are you now?
I'm still 14.
You're still 14, and your voice is changing, though. I love to see it. All right, so you all are going to, in another year, I'm going to look at grown men and women talking to me over here. All right, so tell me what's been happening since we last spoke, Mr. Washington.
Sure. So I'll give you a quick BET Bringing Everybody Together update, and then all the issues that our young people have been talking about and discussing. So although we know it's been a challenging year, we certainly teach our young people and our families, because BET is not just about the young people, it's also about our families and adults, to take the blessings. We're here, things happen, we understand that, but let's certainly move forward. So with that in mind, we just recently started our basketball program back. We have a chess club that's been going on. We have our expo, which is August 21st, out in the schoolyard, Logan Elementary schoolyard. We're going to bring out a bunch of resources, entertainment. And again, we're still going to be practicing, as much as we possibly can, the distancing and everything else, because we know things are, not back to where we want them to be. It may never get there, but we also owe it to the community and to the people to try to get somewhat back on track, because we've missed out on so much. Our young people have been, I won't necessarily say totally bored, but we know that when they're idle, we know it's the devil's workshop. So we have to find ways to make sure that they're occupied. You know, we've had the show, the BET Talk Show. Brandon and the gang told me that I need a break. They needed a break because although it was supposed to have been 2 months, Mama, it's been almost a year. In fact, this week would have been a year for that show, so we'll probably get back to that next month, and looking forward to that as well. In the meantime, as you stated, there's been a lot since we last talked with the violence, the deaths. Yesterday when we met with the Youth Council, a small portion of them, you know, not only did they talk about the violence, they talked about children's safety in general, from kidnapping that they've heard about, from parents and people leaving guns around and have lost some lives just from, you know, we as adults being irresponsible. They talked a little bit about, you know, maybe the human trafficking. They talked about even dehydration. You know, the young man that recently lost his life right after practice.
Right, the football, right.
Right. So there's been a lot of concern about how do we take care of our young people? What can young people do better, and what can we do better to help them move forward?
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Washington. Ayana, I'm starting with you today. I bet you thought I was going to start with Brandon, right? So I always start with Brandon. Today's your turn. What have you seen happening in your community, and what can you tell us old fogies, and yes, I said it, old fogies, about solutions for us in terms of the violence that we see? What are we missing, Ayana?
I feel like a lot has been going on in the community with like a lot of gun violence and people just dying for nothing. Honestly, I feel like we can like have more programs like BET and stuff to help the kids get off the streets and teach them that like you don't always have to resort to that type of like violence. You don't always have to do stuff like that. And like just give them stuff to do in the meantime, because you know we're all bored and it's like quarantine and stuff, so everybody's just all on the streets, everybody's all outside, and instead of that we can have programs and stuff so that we can do to be occupied.
What have you so the violence has been happening, have you experienced some of this violence that's been going on in the city? Have you been impacted in any way from it?
I personally, like, none of my family members have been impacted, but I do have friends and stuff that have been impacted. A lot of like school members and like just people I know around my area. A lot of them have experienced this type of violence. So.
Yeah. And what is your family doing to keep you safe? What's happening in your neck of the woods that to help keep you safe while all of this stuff is swirling around you?
Well, my dad likes keeping us occupied. He like makes us do stuff like read, and he gets us into a lot of like productive stuff. And me and my siblings are a part of BET as well. So that also helps us to stay occupied and stay out of that stuff as well.
So your father is keeping you occupied. Kudos to Dad. Kudos to Dad. You know, we oftentimes talk about moms. We don't talk about the roles, the crucial roles that fathers play. So thank you for hailing up your father. That's a Jamaican term for acknowledging your father. Nadir and Brandon, what's been going on? Brandon unmuted his mic because he's like, look, I'm ready to have a conversation. So what's been going on, Brandon?
First, it's been a long time, Miss Adrena. It's been a very long time. I miss coming on the show.
I miss you guys too.
Yeah, I miss speaking on the Zoom. I miss hearing my voice.
You know what? Hold on one second, Brandon. Mr. Washington, can I meet with these young people before, towards the end of August, early September? That's going to be my gift. I want to come and see all of you in person before something happens and we have to shut down the country again. Can we do that? Can we make that happen?
Sure, we absolutely can.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you, Mr. Washington.
And we may even give them credit for it, because one thing I did miss, Mama, is that they are all working this year, this summer, under the Work Ready program with BET. So they all have jobs, and we'll give them an hour or two when we meet.
I love y'all. I love the babies. All right, Brandon, so what the Sam Hill's been going on, and what does Mother need to know, please? And hi, Nevin, I see you.
Well, since the last time we've met, a lot of things have happened. You know, BET is starting back up. You know, starting to turn into what it used to be back in its glory days. Well, not glory days, but pre-COVID. You know, I think we're all starting to mature a little bit and starting to, you know, really get our eyes open and starting to, you know, kind of wake up from, you know, COVID, and, you know, starting to actually move out and about and get used to how the world used to work again. And I think that, you know, now that everything is starting to get a little bit better, there are some, you know, more things that are happening. You know, there's a very, since the last time we meet, you know, I know that we were talking about the crime rate, you know, that skyrocketed. You know, we've had a lot of things that's happened since the last time we met, and I'm very excited to talk to you about. So I'm gonna hold my tongue, because, you know, I could talk for hours and hours.
Okay. But I need you to tell me, because, you know, there are adults watching, right? The adults are making decisions on your behalf, and no one's really talking to you. So tell me what you want to say to adults as a direct result of all this violence and watching so many of your peers, because we've had our 314th murder, maybe more by now, and a lot of it are young people your age and a little bit younger, a little bit older. What do you want the adults around us to know as they're talking about more policing and more this and more that?
Well, I want them, you know, I want adults to see, you know, you always hear adults talking about we're doing everything in our power, or I think adults are too, they're too proud to, like they always see themselves as being the protector, sometimes too much. You know, they always try to handle everything, you know, even when the situation's not in their control. You know, adults think that, you know, they see everything, and they don't, you know, and they expect that they can handle it all, or they can solve the situation. And it happens so often to the point where, you know, people my age, we just don't say anything anymore, because we already know what's going. I'm sure when you were our age, you know, you know what you can get away with and what people are not gonna know, or you know how to get away with it. You know, it's the same thing. You know, I'm sure that most of the people that has sadly lost their lives this year were people that were at my age, you know, or in my age group at least, you know. And it's sad to say, but a lot of that could have been prevented, you know, if they did have more things like BET or outlets like you know, just a place to be able to speak their mind, or just a way out, you know. So.
And if you don't mind, Mama, can I ask Brandon the question?
Yes.
Because on one of the shows, Brandon left and he was a little disgusted with, since you asked about the adults, someone asked him here on the air, well, or maybe not him directly, but can we talk to a child that's been through some stuff, as if our young people here, you know, because they may not be already in the system. And so, Brandon, if you wouldn't mind, since you're talking about
please address that. That was offensive. You better come on, lift your hands in Jesus' name, and let's go, Brandon. You tell the people how you feel.
Man, after the air, I was furious. I was mad, because not only it kind of detests everything that, you know, I've been through. If you live in the inner city of Philadelphia, you've been through some things. You've seen some things. There's not a person that lives in Philadelphia that hasn't seen something that they could have gone their whole lives without seeing or knowing, you know. So I feel like saying that, you know, they said they want to speak to people who've been through some things, you know, just because I don't say all of my trauma or say everything that people go through, you know, that doesn't mean I haven't gone through anything. You know, I still live in North Philadelphia. You know, I live basically in a war zone, you know, so it's no way of saying, yeah, I want to talk to people that been through some things, because people that been through things, just because I haven't been locked up, doesn't mean I haven't done some things. Doesn't mean I haven't seen anything. So I you know, to the person, you know, I'm sorry. You know, no offense. I mean this in the most respectful way possible, because you are an adult and you've seen things too. But that was a very ignorant comment, because you don't know where I come from. You don't know what I've seen, and you don't know what I've been through. You don't know my past. So before you are so quick to speak, listen. You know, that's the, you know, you should always be slow to speak and quick to hear. You should never open your mouth before you know all the details, before you know every fact about it. You should never, ever, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible. The next time that you have a young person like me sitting next to you, or just on another Zoom telling their story or talking about a topic, listen to them first. Ask them how they know about it.
It's you know, thank you. You've just spoken to something that I have said to the WURD audience over and again. We have to be emotionally intelligent about the things that we're talking about and look at all sides before we open our mouths and make a declaration. So to whoever said that, I hope you heard it. And if you are someone who is thinking it, I hope you never open your mouth, especially on this show, to make that comment about these young people. They're living in the city of Philadelphia. They're here to tell you about their experiences. And Brandon is absolutely right. Just because he's not telling you everything and so you can walk around and say, oh, poor child, the poor baby live in North Philly and these are the things happening around him, doesn't mean he hasn't gone through anything. You all owe these young people enough decency to hear them, fully hear them, and stop forming your responses before they even get to open up their mouths. Shame on you. Shame on you, and thank you, Brandon, for bringing that up, because Mr. Washington, I would have not known, because I'm talking to them. I don't know some of the stuff. I tried to catch up with some of the things that they're saying on the social media sites, but y'all pay attention. If you really want to help these young people, then you really need to hear what they're saying and stop trying to tell them how to think and feel. That is a part of the biggest issue that we're having in this city and beyond right now. And I have said this over and again. Linnea said he just brought tears to my eyes because he's really telling the truth from a young perspective, because like the song says, you don't know my story or see or hear regularly and how it affects them. And so thank you, Brandon. That was so powerful. I'm going to take a break because I wish somebody would come on this thing. Now, I'm policing it now. I'm going to look to see if anybody say anything crazy. Not with these children, not on my watch. And I mean that with every fiber of my being. Y'all hold on. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM. Y'all rise my berries. Lord, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back with this young group, bringing everybody together after these messages.
The hottest place to hang out this summer is the Dell Music Center. The lineup is lit. Thursday, August 5th, Tank, SWV, and Drew Hill. Then on August 12th, Gregory Porter, Stokely, and Leela James. Then on Thursday, August 19th, Fresh Off versus the Isley Brothers. Performing all their greatest hits with Kelly Price and Carol Riddick. Get your tickets at the Dell box office and Ticketmaster.com. This is going to be an incredible season with Tank, SWV, Drew Hill, Gregory Porter, Stokely, Leela James, Carol Riddick, Kelly Price, and the Isley Brothers. For more information, log on to the DellMusicCenter.com.
Are you looking to hire diverse talent? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. If you would like to have your jobs featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875 or send us an email at sales@wordradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
I am not happy. Welcome back to The Source. When I started this show a year and some months ago, now approximately 8 months ago, one of the tenets that I had, and I've stuck to it, is education and young people. I have been very intentional about making sure that young people are represented on The Source every month. This group, bringing everybody together, would leave school at a certain time every once a month. When the school was over, they'd get on the air and come and discuss with all of us young people, older people, what is going on with them. Instead of listening, we tend to want to judge and form opinions. When they're talking, I'm going to need you all to fully open your ears and listen. Pretend you're in a fishbowl forum and don't say anything derogatory to them, because it takes everything out of them to pick up the time to say, as Sarita says, you're right, Linda Shields, taste your words before you feed them to someone. Incredible. State Representative Darisha Parker, I hear you're on the phone. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Well, I was until Brandon started to tell me what the people were saying. Made me mad.
Well, actually, that's why I called, because Brandon, I'm involved with him as well as Rich Washington in one of their programs in my district. So when I hear some disturbing news about this gym, where we're supposed to be lifting him up and supporting him, making sure that he's okay, and making sure that he has all the responsibilities and resources that he's, and somebody says I'm just hearing the word, that could hit something core with me too.
Yes. Oh, it irritated the hell out of me. I got to tell you, because it's important. I know, but it is important, and I'm so glad that Brandon brought it up, because oftentimes we kind of gloss over these things and we kind of let it wash under the bridge. But as adults, we tend to act like we know everything. Brandon said something that was completely. I need you all to hear this. We think we know everything. We don't know everything. And if we would shut our mouths long enough to fully hear children and fully hear them in what they're saying, they would share more with us. They would. They would share more with us if we came from a non-judgmental place and we tried to understand where they were coming from, because they have the keys to some of the solution that we need to make sure that this city is a better place.
And the main thing that you talked about is the fact that we encourage our children to speak out. And the mere fact that this young kid had to keep this bottled up, and then it hit him and it struck him in a bad way, just put me in a different position when we're talking about our children.
Yes.
You know, I believe that the children are our future, and we're supposed to teach them and let them live their way. We're supposed to lift them up and show them all the beauty that things possess inside. We're not supposed to tear them down at any given time, especially during times like this.
Yes, yes. So I'm going to go back to talking to them, because I want them to give me, what they think is going on in the city. They want to talk about some stuff. But thank you so much, State Rep Darisha Parker.
Oh, yeah.
Pleasure talking to you. All right? All right. Bye-bye. Listen, you all got people in your corner. You just don't know. Brandon, Mr. Washington, you should have called me. I'd have been on the air the next day lighting everybody up from end to end. Not when the young people come say, I do not play with y'all. Nadir, tell me what is happening with you since we last spoke, and what do you think about all this violence, and what solutions you have? I'm going to go back to Brandon in a little bit, and then I got to get Nevin in.
Well, I've been working a lot. Been playing sports a lot this past summer. Well, this summer. And what I think about what's going on with all the violence, I would say that, it's a lot. Like, I've seen I've seen something that I didn't want to see for the first time a few months ago. And it was like, I didn't really know how to react.
What did you see, Nadir?
I don't really want to speak. Okay. I'll just say a man was shot and I saw his body on the ground.
Okay.
And that's something I didn't really expect to see that day, or expect to see ever, or want to see ever. And I didn't really know what to do or what to think at that moment. I was kind of just there, just standing there. And I just think that with everything going on, it's like really bothering me, because it's like not safe outside at all, no matter where you are in Philadelphia. And you can't even go play, you can't do anything without having a second guess where you're going, or second guess how long you're going to be out, because you never know what could happen while you're out.
Right. What do we as the adults need to know to be protective of you all? What are we missing, Nadia?
Really, it's just knowing your neighborhood and knowing where you're about to go, knowing that area, because you'll be able to know, it's not really safe anywhere, but really there's there's certain parts of Philadelphia where you can go peacefully and be there for a while. And also, I feel like it's just, I guess it's just really knowing where you're going.
So Nadir, let me ask you this, because I want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly. As young people, and if you all know if this is true, nod your heads for me. As young people, you kind of know where the safe pockets are in the city. Yes or no?
Kind of.
Kind of. Okay. Yes. Okay. It's kind of sort of. Okay.
Yeah, because for me, I would say there's, in my life, since I play sports and I do certain things, there's really certain parts of Philadelphia that I could really call a second home. because I'm in that area so much.
Right.
And then there's other parts where I might have drove through there or might have played at a park there one time, so I don't really know that area.
Right. So you're saying know where you are about to go, know the area, know what's happening there before you decide to show up there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I love you all. I love you all. Nevin, I'm going to get you in here. Nevin, you always got a background where I can't see your face. What's that about? Thank you, Nadir.
Oh, and I also,
Yes.
I mean, we don't have to really talk about this, but I wanted to bring this up. Saw this on YouTube the other day. It said that Philadelphia was named the most dangerous city in the United States over Chicago and New York. And I was just, when I read it, I was just like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. If you could give some advice to the police officers that are patrolling the city, what would that be, Nadir, Brandon, all of you? What would that advice be to the police officers who are supposed to keep us safe and to help them? How can we help them to help us?
That's a good question.
Anybody have the answer for me? You don't know how to ask them how to help you. Okay. Okay. If you come up with any solutions, do you promise to let me know?
Yes.
Let me know, because I think there is when the last time I spoke to all of you, you talked about the social media, how social media has been causing a lot of the problems that we're seeing in the streets. Do you still believe that?
Yes, I do. Because I feel like a lot of people, like they see someone on like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, like I guess acting tough or posting certain things, and then they decide to DM them or text them, talking trash, and then it just goes from there. And then when they finally see each other for the first time, things don't go too well.
Things don't go well. And so, do you think we could do something about monitoring the social media so we can stop? Maybe we can have some adults monitoring. There'll be some red flags, because the way social media works, they have certain words start a red flag, right? So if you all know what those keywords are, I'm just throwing this out there. You can share it with us as adults, and we can start to flag some of these things through social media so we can stop some of this stuff as it happens, right? What do you think parents need to know about their children using social media? Tell me, Brandon, you got something.
When it comes to social media, even though I me being a kid, I understand, I don't really like my parents being on my page neither. But, first you got to know your kid. You got to know your kid, because every kid is not the same. I could have easily, been a different type of kid. I could have been in the streets. Luckily, I wasn't raised that way, but that wasn't my mentality.
Right.
You have to know your kids. You have to know what they're drawn to. And if you see that they're drawn to stuff like that, you have to pay attention to their behavior. It's not necessarily, keeping them away from it, but more of, not necessarily shielding them or keeping them away from it, but more teaching them how to get away from it. Because, you're not with them 24/7. There's always going to be times when you're not with your kid or you can't see what they're doing. And, and I'm not saying that you got to keep them bonded and to one place, or just keeping them, shielded or stationary in one place, because that will just get them antsy. When you keep kids in one place and keep them doing just one thing, they're going to start looking and they're going to find the wrong thing. When they see when people are always going to be drawn to what they're not allowed to have,
Jesus, a whole word on today in these Wakandan streets. Let me tell you, people are always going to be drawn to what they cannot have. I'm going to say it again. People, and I'm not just talking about young people, people are going to be drawn to what they cannot have. Brandon just preached a whole word in one sentence. So if you don't have different things for your avenues for your children to work through, and you only have them stuck in one thing, and you're thinking you're keeping them, children are the most resourceful people ever. How easy is it for your peers to get alcohol into your house without the parents knowing? How easy is it?
Easy.
Easy. Ayana's like, yeah, that ain't nothing but a chicken wing. How easy is it for your peers to get access to guns?
Easier than drinks.
And so when parents are saying, not my child, what do you want them to know, Brandon? Because they know. One of the things I say all the time is parents know their children to just put on a mental block and pretend like they don't see what's in front of them. So what do you want parents to know when they're talking about not my child, but you know their child is out there doing things they're not supposed to be doing, Brandon?
That's funny you say that, because you have so many kids that are out doing things, and when something, God forbid, something happens, it's always the first thing, they say they're a good kid, but you can't say that, because you have to know your kid. Like I said before, you have to know your child. You have to know what they get into. You have to know. So you have to teach, it's not even just shielding them or protecting them. You have to teach them. People are so quick to do things without an explanation. You have to be able to explain. You have to teach.
Lord, I'm about to cry. Y'all know it's been a minute since Mother cried on this show, but you all are preaching on today. Yes, Brandon. Yes, Nevin. What would you like to add to this, sir? And I'm going to need you the next time you come on the air with me, put a light in front of you so I can see that handsome face. I don't know why you're hiding from Mother. So what do you have to add to all of this, honey?
I would have to say that when it comes to I'm like, because it was a lot of topics, so which one?
You pick the one you want to talk about. What is impacting you the most now in this city of Philadelphia?
Okay. I would have to talk about what Brandon was just talking about, like the children having access to things that they're not supposed to have. So you basically pick the path for your kid. You can expose them to things, but if there are things that you don't want them to be exposed to, you have to show them why it's wrong. Because some people are just because they hear it doesn't mean that they listen or understand. So you might have to be interactive with them, or show them videos or research as to why it's not good for you, whatever. But yeah,
so telling them because I said so is not the way to do this. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because that doesn't really work.
Yeah.
Because children always have a why or why not type of mentality. So because they always want to do new things. So when you expose your children to new accessible items or whatever, you have to be active. You have to be with them at all times. So they at least get exposed the right way.
Right. You all are big on the parent and community responsibility. I love that about each and every one of you. Ayana spoke of her father, making sure that they are, involved in different things. And I remember the very first time you came on the air, Ayana, I saw your father in the background. I was like, yes. There are people doing what, trying to make sure you're, because you see, as a parent, I would say, you're going to talk to who? Who are you on the radio talking to? I need to see who these people are to make sure that you're in a safe environment, I am, is there anything else you all want to add around this piece about the parental and community responsibility? Please, talk about it now. Go ahead, Brandon. Man, go ahead. I see some stuff for you. You are, Lord, they're not ready, Brandon. They're not ready.
This is the last thing. Because when you were speaking about people have access to things that they're not allowed to, and and I'm not going to talk for too long because I could go for hours. I always do. So it's just, and it's also like you said, it's the community. It's not just the parents, because they always say it takes a village to raise a child. It's not. It's the community's responsibility and protecting us too. And I don't mean just the adults in the community. I mean also the kids. It's like a couple of days ago. This is crazy that you actually mentioned it, because it just jogged my memory a little bit. A couple of days ago, I'm walking down the street and I'm heading outside of the store, You know, it's a lady. You know, she looked like she was old enough to be my grandmom. You know, she asks me for a dime of weed. Just at this time, you know, I'm not even. I'm pretty short at this time. You know, now I'm getting a little taller, but you know, she asks me for a dime of weed. You know, at first it didn't register because I was a little confused. You know, she got a cane. She looks like your stereotypical grandma,
right?
And I was shocked. And you know, and at first it was like, yo, this is crazy. Like it was a story to write home to. And then a couple of weeks after that, I go into the Boppy store. I asked, I forgot what type of candy it was, and the lady gives me a Black and Mild. I'm like, oh my gosh! It's so easy to get items like this because people see no filter as long as they're getting whatever they want out of it. People see no filter. There's no boundaries anymore, especially in the world that we live in, because there's people my age that began into just as much, if not more, things that you see the people at the corners doing.
Right.
So and that's why when people see the crime rate and see how much a percentage it is of people that are my age that are dying and wondering what's happening, and the police are wondering what's happening. You got adults wondering what's happening. You know, I want them to pay attention to everything. I want them to think back in their memory. I want this to jog their memory. How many of these? Because I know that something like this has to ring a bell. Because this is a pattern. I know I'm not the only one that this is happening to. I'm not the only one. You know, it's so easy for people my age to get caught up.
Yeah,
that's the reason.
Because there's so much access. If you're going to the Poppy store asking for a candy and they're offering you a Black and Mild, so then we have to now, city council folks have to start looking at the things that are being sold in those Poppy stores that are easily accessible to children, to the adults who are out here doing the things that Brandon talked about, and Nadir, you know, seeing somebody get shot and a body on the ground. I'm going to take a quick break, and Mr. Washington, when I come back, I want you to talk to me about what is available for them in terms of mental health, because this is too much for young people to see. For Brandon to be shaken by someone who could look like his grandmother asking him for a dime bag of weed, and for Nadir to see someone, I'm sure you've all seen different things that's traumatizing, but black children are often seen as, you know, they're as adults way before they become adults, right? And so, you know, y'all can deal with this. This is nothing new for you. And we have to stop making our children into adults before their time and to really hear them. I love you all. Let me take a quick break. We'll come back with our final segment. Just hold on. You are listening to The Source, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at onWURD. 215-634-8065 is the number to call in. We will be right back with our final segment after these messages.
The Broad Street line.
Georgetown High-Speed line.
I ride the bus.
Regional Rail, every day.
Usula Linea Azul. I ride the trolley.
Into, out of, and all around the city.
SEPTA is the hometown way to go.
Plan your trip at iseptaphilly.com.
Drums, please.
Hey guys, this is Sam from Leo's Apparel. Summer is here and it's hot, just like our summer sale. Yes, I said summer sale, and when I mean sale, everything is on sale, guys. Men's linen and leisure two-piece sets, men's dress shoes and casual driving shoes, men's dress suits, and not to mention our pre-season Borsalino, velour, and long hair beaver sale. Come on down to Leo's, located on Germantown and Lehigh Ave.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to the final segment of The Source. If you are just joining us, I have on the line with me the young people from Bringing Everybody Together. That's a group formed by Mr. Richard Washington up here in the left, and Brandon is the president, and these other young people, Nadir, Ayana, Nevin. I've known them all now because I've been talking to them for months on end. We just missed a couple of months because of some things that were going on. But I want you all to hear this. Someone sent me a text and said, "Hey, Queen, also another factor that could be contributing to the violence via social media is the recreational drug lean, otherwise known as a purple drink or Texas tea." Do you guys know about that? Ain't this It's codeine cough syrup, candy, and soda. The perpetrators are making YouTube videos about who they're going to assault, or worse off, instead of fighting, they're using weapons. In most cases, they're probably high off of lean. Parents, open your eyes and pay attention. And if you have family members out there that have not seen this, I need you to go back and take a look at this. It makes the young people very spacey, and they lose a lot of weight. Parents, guardians may think their child is high from smoking marijuana, but it could be lean, which has a different side effect, especially if they're taking any medication for mental issues. My God. Yesterday, I spoke with someone who lives in Councilman Kenyatta Johnson area and was told that these politicians are busy protecting the Asians with anti-hate bills when they're busy selling drugs and alcohols from the stores throughout the community. I told them to contact the tip hotline number, but they replied that the police and everybody knows what the Asians do, but nobody cares. So, any of this sounds familiar to you all? Yeah? Yeah. So, how long have you all known about lean? I've never heard about lean until 2 seconds ago. Like today, 2 seconds ago.
I've heard that word come up before, but I never knew exactly what it was.
Yeah, yeah. So be careful of anybody offering you that stuff. Did you hear it, Ayana? Go ahead. Go ahead, Ayana.
And I was saying that it was like this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so it was like this whole entire like trend on TikTok where it was like people teaching the kids on TikTok how to make lean with the soda and the cough syrup and everything like that. So it was like this entire like thing on TikTok where they was like teaching people how to make
Ayana, turn your phone because you're sideways. We're all living this. There you go. So there was a whole trend on TikTok of people teaching young people how to make lean?
Yes.
Unbelievable. Mr. Washington, did you know about it?
Yes, vaguely, but yes, I've heard of it. As well as, just recently, one of our other young people talked about, people having gatherings, and it's called Don't Leave, something along the lines of Don't Leave Sober. And that's pretty popular as well, to, have these gatherings and parties, but you're not supposed to leave sober.
And so, how are the adults missing all of this? How? Tell me how you think the adults, I see Brandon smiling, but tell me, how do you think the adults are missing all of this? Where do they think their children are going when they come back leaning to the side and losing weight? Where do they think their children are going, Brandon, Nadir, Ayana, Nevin? Where do they think their children are going? Where?
I'll speak last.
Go ahead, Ayana.
Oh, I was just saying, honestly, I don't even think they know where they're going. I just think that some or most parents, from what I know of, don't pay attention. And people that like y'all said, you want, everybody wants what they can't have. So if you raise your child on strict stuff and they always constantly in the house and let them do nothing, when they start to get older, they always want to be out. So they come up and they said that strict parents make the best liars. So kids always lying about where they're going, and the parents believe them because most of their lives they make good children. And most parents don't pay attention to that. And most of their kids be out at 3 o'clock in the morning, doing stuff like out at them parties, don't leave sober and stuff like that. And it's because the parents just don't pay attention anymore.
Oh my God. Go ahead, Nadir. Thank you, Ayana.
I think it's also because, I guess, certain households, kids have a lot more freedom than in others. Like, I know sometimes at home I wish I had more freedom and I could do certain things, but then again, I also always think that I'm always glad that I don't have as much freedom as I wish I did, because I don't know if I had as much freedom as other kids, maybe I would be out there just like them, doing everything that they're doing. So, and I also think that it's because I know Ayana was saying sometimes when you grow up in a strict household, you want to be out more, but I also think that some kids, they're not spoiled, but their parents just aren't strict at all. Their parents don't have any limits. Like their parents let them go out. Their parents let them do whatever, have whoever over without even knowing who that person is. And so, even though I guess, I mean, at some point the parents, I feel like, shouldn't be as strict anymore, but I feel like it's good to grow up in a strict household
with some boundaries. Yes, Nadir. Yes, because if you allow your children, thank you, and you all are hearing it from the children themselves. So don't say it's mother telling you. These are the children themselves that are telling you exactly what is happening in their communities. Nevin, I'm going to come to you quickly, and then Brandon, and then I got to get off of the show. What do you think parents need to know, Nevin?
I think, well, some types of parents just let them, I think that some are too afraid to like let their children do anything because like the world is not the same since like in the 80s or whatever. Like that whole generation, it's not the same. The world has changed. So I guess since their children think that what they thought they were doing was okay, then they can do the same, but it's not. You really have to take care of your children. So
thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Nevin. I appreciate it, honey. Brandon, I'm gonna snap off with you because let's go.
So when it comes to parents and just adults in general, you know, you first don't settle for that parent and child relationship. Try harder to get to know your child, because when you just have that child and parent relationship, when that's the only thing there, you know, all that leaves is, you know, all that's there, you know, respect. It should be respect, you know, but try to get a deeper bond with your child so they'll actually trust you. You know, a lot of us, you know, a lot of parents, you know, you see them, you know, they'll, you know, all they do, you know, feed, clothe, put a roof over your head, you know, but when you do that, that's all that your child sees you as. But well, besides as being your parent, they see you as that. Try to become, you know, they always say, you know, you can't be friends with your kids, but you can with boundaries. There's always going to be boundaries. But you should try your best to have that type of relationship with your child, because you'll wonder why your child isn't talking to you or speaking to you, or why your child is rebelling or not letting you know what's going on. And that's why, because they don't know if they can trust you with that information. Because a lot of kids, the reason why kids lie is because they got in trouble for telling the truth. They got in trouble for telling the truth before, and that's why they lie.
The reason why children lie is because they get in trouble for telling the truth. And so that's why they lie. Unbelievable. So Washington, I'm about to fall out my seat. Literally fall out my seat. Because now on Thursday when I come back to the air, I got to get off the air now. But on Thursday when I come back to the air, I'm going to talk about this lean, right? And what parents are missing. You all have literally preached 5 sermons in 25 minutes. Literally. I cannot thank you all enough. Nevin, Ayana, Nadir, Brandon, Mr. Washington, for bringing everybody together. I look forward to seeing you all again soon, okay? And stay safe, please. All right? All right.
Thank you very much, Mama. Appreciate you.
We do. Thank you. You're welcome. Bye-bye. I'm about to fall out my seat. I'm going to let them all go. I'm going to let them all click off so I can do my final comments for the show. Jesus Christ. You know, I come on here all the time and I talk to you all about our young people. Nadia and Mr. Washington, you can click off now because we're getting ready to end the show. And we come on and talk about young people. And I keep asking you all to pay attention. And I felt feel like it was going on deaf ears until the young people themselves got on and are telling you exactly what is going on. That it's easier for them to it's far easier for them to get a gun than it is to bring alcohol into the house. That parents need to spend more time getting to know their children and talking to their children instead of just feed roof clothes over their head. That parents are too permissive and allowing everybody, lottie-dottie, and everybody to come into their house and they don't know who those people are, especially with our boys. We raise our girls and spoil our boys and let them do any old thing because we say they're men. We turn them into men before they're even 10 years old because they're the man of the house. We've got to cut this crap out. You want to solve some of the violence in the street? I'm going to need you to all go back and start at the 3 o'clock hour and play that recording all the way to 4 so that you can understand what these young people are talking about and that you can go into your heart because nobody knows what's going on in your house. Check yourselves before you get on social media bawling and crying that your son was shot and killed or your daughter was shot and killed or whatever else. Now, don't come on here and tell me that I am vilifying parents. I am just telling you, pay more attention. We just had this conversation about the young man at Lower Merion who was shot and killed trying to purchase a straw gun. The children knew what was going on. The parents didn't know what was going on. That was the question I asked. What is going on? That I heard the children knew. All his peers and friends knew what he was into. Parents, no clue. So Brandon and all the young people from Bringing Everybody Together had something to say, and I need you all to go back and pay attention. I got to go now, because coming up next is Evening Words with Nick Taliaferra. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders. I'll see you when I see you. Pay attention. Goodbye.
Sharper than a razor, eyes made of lasers, bolder than the truth. They won't be locked up in the system, 'cause I'm on a mission. Blame it on my youth. Too long I've been out here on my own. Now I'm about to bring it home like a rolling stone. I ain't never been afraid to die. Look a man in the eye. I come to give you what you love. Switchblade, first and last of all, God made it